What up, Driftwood? Hong, hong, hong. What up, Driftwood? Hong, hong, hong.
To be booked in minutes, not days or weeks. Real-time visibility into eligible community care provider appointment availability and increased efficiency that will eliminate many calls, faxes, and emails. Taken together, these improvements ensure greater consistency of services across VA medical centers nationwide. Since we last testified before this subcommittee in May 2025, VA has moved from incremental deployment to nationwide availability of the EPS program platform. Since late 2025, the EPS program has been rolled out across every VA medical center. As of May 2026, there were over 29,000 community providers and more than 41,000 provider services available under EPS. More than 150,000 appointments have been booked through the platform. In January 2026, VA commenced 2 integrated scheduling pilots in Charleston, South Carolina, and Atlanta, Georgia. This effort allows viewing both direct care and community care appointments on the same platform. Within
Dragon's Blood, you paid stuff for SpaceX. Did they give you any free shares? Good morning, Grammy. You're going to be buying? Hong hong, Jay Davis. Currently, SpaceX looks like it's going to open at $170 a share. Did you get in on the IPO, Grammy? Jay, CIA, not FBI. I don't work for those morons. Come on, man. SpaceX is not trading yet. It could start trading any minute now. I've been trading some of these other stocks that are running this morning. Just waiting on SpaceX to open. Captain, you figure... I'm not going to lie. I saw SpaceX in live stream and just assumed your channel got hacked by Bitcoin scammers. No scam. Really, we're just gonna be watching SpaceX, see what it does today. Grammy, so you're in the process. Did you? So you applied for allocation for shares, right? Because I think you had to have done that before a couple days ago at the latest. And then I think you would already know by now if you'd been allocated shares. I think people got those notifications this morning. Hong hong, Corbusier. Hong hong hong. Waiting on SpaceX to start trading. Let's see what it does today. See, what's the overall market doing? Trending up a little bit. What up, PCB junkie? What's everyone doing today? Why isn't everyone at work? Oof. Dang, the opening price keeps dropping. I mean, not a ton. A few minutes ago, or like 10 minutes ago, it was at 175. It's currently 168.75. Rabbi Sheckelstein, what if you're too poor to buy stocks? Well, that's most of America, I think. So, Jay, honging is your work? Tummy Robinson, hong, hong, hong. Good morning. Good morning. I don't know if it bodes well that the opening price is dropping. Let's see here. Rabbi, yes, go ask for one free stock, please. What's going on here? Hong Hong, Neo Dark Matter, and We See Jada High. Happy Friday. All right. Current opening price 169. 169. Now it just needs to go to 420 to complete the prophecy. PCB Junkie, there's no money in space? I don't know, man. Those asteroids have some money on them, man. You just have to go dig on asteroids. Come on, what are you doing with your lazy ass life? Go find an asteroid and start digging. There's asteroids made entirely of diamonds, probably. I don't know if that's true. But probably, right? Jay, like Star Trek, yes. Onus, you're rich. You did it. We did it. We're rich. What up, Auspice Jack? Yeah, gold and silver and a lot of titanium. Tachanka, yeah. Do it, man. If you aren't digging on asteroids by the time you're 30, you're just lazy. Let's see here. You're buying 100,000 F-350s. It's a lot of trucks, man. No idea when this is supposed to start trading. It literally could be any minute or hours from now. So, Maximus, 1.77 trillion valuation. Well, it's going to open up higher than that. It's currently set to open at $169 a share. I believe that 1.7 trillion valuation was at 135 a share, so significantly higher than that. I agree, it's nuts. But I mean, that's just one asteroid. There's millions of them. Yeah, what happens when you bring back, 100 times the amount of lithium that's on Earth? What happens to the price of lithium? Jay, I want Elon to be the first official trillionaire just to see the commies go even more batshit. Jay, yeah, that's likely to happen very soon. That'll be fun. That will be fun. They're bitching about billionaires. Wait for the trillionaires. They don't even understand how big of a number that is, I don't think. $1 trillion, it's a big number, man. It's a lot of money. Oh, Onus, yeah. Trucks are absolutely ridiculously priced. Just insane. I've been waiting for them to come down, and all they do is go up. Maximus, you'll buy one share for fun. I'm gonna trade it today. I don't think you should be buying SpaceX today for a long-term hold, because it's gonna come down. As soon as all the shares that the people were basically given for free, or people who bought in 10 years ago and essentially bought in at pennies on the dollar, they start unlocking in I think 3 months, and then 6 months, and then 9 months. They're all unlocked, and those people are gonna be selling, and the stock's gonna drop. That's just how it works. Born space is fake and gay. You should be shorting this stock then, for sure. If this entire $1.2 trillion company can't even go to space, that kind of makes it go to zero, yeah? Maximus, I don't think you can trade options, and you can't short it. I think there's a 30-day period on IPOs before you can do options and shorting and futures on stocks, I think. But this IPO has been very different, so I'm not sure exactly how that's set up. I know you can't short it today. And Maximus, the holding period, it starts to unlock shares, I think 3 months in, and then more shares are unlocked 6 months in, and then 9 months, and then 12 months, they're all completely unlocked. This one was structured a little differently than most IPOs. That's true, Auspice. Yeah, you automatically kind of, if you own indexes or mutual funds, or even in your IRAs, any of that, you're going to be involved with SpaceX. Neodark, clearly not given the U.S. debt and how it keeps going up. That's true. Hang on. I have the debt clock here somewhere. There it is. Yeah. Oh, only 39 trillion. Come on. It's only 20 SpaceX's. Maximus, do you know what the cost basis for older shares is? Well, it ranges quite a lot. I mean, some of them zero, yeah. People that have been working for SpaceX have been paid in shares along the way, all the way down to some of the janitors. Partial payments of theirs are SpaceX shares that were given to them for free, but they're locked. And then also early investors who, didn't get in for free, but probably got in for pennies or dollars. 10, 15 years ago, whenever SpaceX started. So it ranges. A few million more Indian immigrants will fix the debt problem. Sure, Matthew. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's see, what else is moving today? A bunch of junk. Cooper, what is this? Caprina Holdings. Caprina Cayman Limited. A Singapore company. That doesn't sound shady at all. Let's see here. Park Ha Biological Technology, headquartered in Wuzhing, China. Probably a scam. Let's see, the third leading gainer today is Rubico Inc., a company out of Greece. Yeah, the debt per taxpayer is wild. $355,000. Pay up, Chef Johnson. Pay up your fair share. Come on. Cough up $355K. See, VSME, another Hong Kong company. A lot of junk moving today. UBXG, Beijing, Acon. Oh, this is a weed company out of the UK. Up pretty big today. Went from 15 to 28 pre-market, currently around 24. Yeah, tell me, the whole New Jersey things. We should have a Hunger penny stock trading club. Yeah, the New Jersey thing got boring pretty quick, honestly. Just waiting for SpaceX to open. Oh, current opening price 165. Keeps dropping. I think that's not a great sign, honestly. When are we going to hit 40 trillion, guys? Next week? What is this? Cast. Oh wow, an actual US company is moving? Interesting. Software and IT services. Freecast announces expansion of direct TV relationship. Who the fuck still has regular TV? Should I short this? Can I short it? No shares to borrow to short. Damn. It won't let me short it. I'd have shorted the shit out of this. Partnership with DirecTV. What is this, 20 years ago? Maximus, boomers in retirement homes? I guess. I guess. Who's buying this right now? Well, it won't let me short it. I guess I'm glad because it just keeps going higher. It's ridiculous. The market doesn't have to make sense, guys. Never does. I'll make the debt a little smaller here so you can see the stocks moving. Jay, I'm embarrassed to admit I actually bought one of those satellite dishes from Sears when they first came out. Well, back then it made sense. Yeah, I'm not buying a DirecTV relationship, though. No, thank you. All these junk stocks moving. I think people are just bored waiting for SpaceX to open, so they're just buying whatever the hell's moving. And it sounds like one of those free streaming services, right? what is it? Cast. It's called FreeCast. What does it say? FreeCast is a U.S.-based company. The company is engaged in entertainment content discovery, aggregation, and management company. It provides smart guide digital interactive technology for consumers to organize various sources of online media. That's basically what I do here in Austin Zone. I source online media and show it to you. Buy Austin Zone stunk. This 30% of this IPO is retail. Yeah, and they're actually going to be letting people sell today. The retail who got IPO shares. Yeah, I guess I'm glad they didn't let me short this. It's up 12% from when I wanted to short it. Can I short it now? Still no. Jay, you mean you click Lynn's list? Well, Lynn is the backbone of the company, of course. But you know, like all trillionaires, I'm going to make my money off the backs of other people. I'm not going to do the actual work. That's for suckers, Jay. Work is for suckers. You either need to have employees make you rich or become an Indian scammer. Those are your two options. This makes no sense that this is moving higher. It makes no sense at all. I'm telling you, people are just bored waiting for SpaceX. Dragon's Blood. Yep, you're a sucker. Unless your work is at an Indian scammer call center. Yeah, John Smith, you can start a Leering Center. That's another good option. Yeah, this is now suspended because it limited up. So it's suspended for 5 minutes. Overall market trending a little higher. Up about 0.5% on the day. Dow Jones is up almost 1% on the day. Jay, ideal black market knockoff Furbies from my trunk. It's not going well. Hey, Furbies are going to make a comeback. Stick with it, buddy. You're doing great. Hmm. 164.69 is the current opening price of SpaceX if it ever actually opens. Up 164 now. Blackvar, this is appropriate to happen during Pride Month, since space is fake and gay. It's just how Elon planned it. So what's this going to do when it reopens? Cast has been suspended for 5 minutes due to volatility. The limit up. SpaceX current opening price 162.50. People are already trying to line up to sell immediately. If you're going to trade this, be very careful. It's going to be volatile. Tell me, do not redeem. All right, what do you guys think this does when it reopens in about a minute? Does it shoot higher? Or do we get a big fat red candle? This stock started trading on March 10th at $33 a share. It's currently at $1.18. Oof. Some IPOs are not good. Holy shit. Well, Hong Hong AH. All right, this should start trading here any second. Okay, here we go. It's gonna shoot higher. A lot of sellers coming on the ask though. Big sellers. There's that red candle. Yep. Well, dang, buyers coming in. Jesus. This makes no sense. All right. There's going to be a big fat red candle soon. Maybe not. I don't know. Well, I should have bought this at $1. This is performing better than SpaceX will today. SpaceX powered by H-1B visas. Yep. There's a red candle. Man, all these big sellers are getting bought up though. That's wild. SpaceX still not trading. Current market open price 162.50. Good morning, Low Q. No YouTube notification, huh? That's not shocking. Maximus, you might get filled at 135. I doubt it goes to 100, but I have no idea. This is such a bizarre IPO. It's being structured so differently than every other IPO. No idea what's going to happen here. I agree, Blackvar. The circuit breakers are insane. Like let it run. I agree. Let people do what they want with their money. I don't need protection from myself. Oh, but the government knows better, Blackvar. The government knows better. Low Q. Yeah, we're waiting for SpaceX to open. I'm just watching some other stuff while it does. Seems like some other things are moving out of boredom from people that are waiting for SpaceX to open. That's the way to do it, Dragon's Blood. That's the way to do it. Yeah, I guess everyone should just watch for the Twitch notification and then you know to come over to YouTube. Oh yeah, what's Tesla doing today? Down about 0.5%. Yeah, are people going to sell Tesla to buy SpaceX? Some people are saying Tesla and SpaceX will merge into one company. This really should start trading any minute now. Or in an hour or two. What's Cast doing? Okay. Cast finally had a big red candle. I'm shocked by the amount of people buying into these sells, though. Aaron, you should look at SanDisk a year ago and now. What's SanDisk symbol? I guess I can figure it out. Hang on. SNDK. So a year ago would be 612. Yeah, damn. It's quite the move on SanDisk. $35 to $2,000 basically in a year. Not bad. Not a bad return, Aaron. Where were you a year ago? You should have told me to buy SanDisk. Oh, this one just won't quit. I'm kind of impressed. This is going to be another limit up. It'll probably be paused for 10 minutes this time. Usually the second limit up. The first pause is 5 minutes. The second pause is 10 minutes. Yep. Trading halt. 10-minute trading halt on Cast at 154. Insane. People have lost their fucking minds. Officials provide update on massive warehouse fire in California.
Inside the walls for at least a couple more days.
I know you have plenty of help here with mutual aid, but what type of a toll does this type of huge fire have on your department?
So yeah, yesterday we had well over 120 firefighters
Faustino,
that
you
were
will
fighting
not
this
be able to
fire.
purchase this stock
Over
on
35
Coinbase.
fire apparatus.
I don't
and
think.
so it quickly overwhelms resources and draws down from Alameda County, Stanislaus County. We had multiple strike teams in the area as well as our local San Joaquin County units, and so it puts a strain on the entire system. But that's what the fire service is good at. We participate in the California mutual aid system, and so everything from incident command teams
Entire
to
warehouse.
individual fire engines and other apparatus, we can quickly assemble them, get them on the road quickly, and get them to where they need to be.
And then are you ready for the long haul? That being said, Chief touched on yesterday how this could be a couple days, could be several days. Unified command, will other agencies step in and assist and help out tired firefighters and replenish resources?
Absolutely, and they've been, all of our mutual aid and automatic partners have been tremendous. They're the ones replacing our crews this morning, so they're already stepping up and doing that to get our Tracy firefighters some rest that they need for sure after staying up all night.
So
and
you open land for a data center?
all of those,
Yeah, right.
State and federal agencies
Fair
to
enough.
assist us throughout this process.
Easier to burn it down than demolish it. Yeah.
Is that still evacuated, and are there any plans for returns? Any other buildings around here too?
The FedEx building was re-energized with electrical at about 10 p.m. last night, and gas will be re-energized sometime this morning. We did confirm that that interior of that
Current SpaceX open price $160 a share, assuming it ever opens. Could be any minute now. Could be hours from now. Fun. It'd be crazy for them to just say, hey, this is when we're going to open the stock for trading. That would just be too hard. It'd be too convenient,
At the city of Tracy, and no, this is the largest fire that I've managed. Like I said, we had 35 engines on scene with 120 personnel. That's a very large and complex incident, and very fortunate we didn't have any immediate injuries for firefighters and/or civilians. We did have one
Splat says,
firefighter
I came
late
here to
last
say,
night,
all you
about 1 in the
greedy
morning,
fools
that
who think
had
Musk is going to make you
some
rich
back
are going to get what you
spasms
deserve.
and ended up being transported
Okay,
to
Splat.
Sutter Tracy Hospital, and we're continuing to check on his
Thanks
condition.
for
So
your
when it
input.
comes to the firefight last night, you weren't necessarily trying to put out the flames anymore. At this point, would you say you're just trying to put out hot spots?
Yeah, so because of the weather that's ensuing, and you can see the ember casting that's still starting to pick up, that is of grave concern for us. We don't want any additional incidents to, extend beyond this building.
Hello,
and so
IQ
one of the major
Savage.
focuses is going to continue to
Hello,
put
hello.
our application
Hello.
on the what we call the Alpha Delta corner, which is the one that's most problematic right now. And so ground monitors and ladder operations will continue to happen throughout the day to knock down the ember casting as much as we can as the weather continues to increase.
And obviously we're in a pretty industrial area. There aren't houses nearby, but can you again touch on the broader impact for the surrounding communities and how you all are going to be watching for those embercast fires that may pop up, those spot fires that may pop up?
Sure. So today's weather in regards to wind is going to be very similar to yesterday. We had sustained winds about 20 miles an hour with gusts up to 25 to 30 miles an hour that ember casting large portions of the debris that had burned.
Oh, Maximus, you were asking about options on SpaceX. This news just came across 10 minutes ago. CBOE will start listing SpaceX options as soon as next Tuesday. So sooner than I thought, for sure. Yeah, a lot of fires in 2026, Splat. Not quite as many as 2020, but good amount of fires so far this year. I'll agree.
In operation, and so most of them have been
Cast, the stock that won't stop going up. I was alerted to this at $1. I did not buy. I'm certainly not buying up here. That'd be insane. Jay just went and burned a trash fire in Homage, slapped Smokey the Bear in the face on the way back inside. You know, Jay, I think I saw that it's just Smokey Bear. And that's a Mandela effect. We all thought it was Smokey the Bear, but it's just Smokey Bear. The official name of the famous wildfire prevention mascot is Smokey Bear with no the. Just Smokey Bear. You've been Mandela'd again. Splat. Please don't make me go schizo this early in the morning. Sorry, Splat. You would think they would want to go ahead and open this for trading before everyone loses all their money on Cast. What up, Mr. Motherfucker? How you doing? Hmm.
24-hour operation.
Sure. So there were only just a little over 100, so about 120 personnel. And like I said, the vice president of operations was on site and accounted for every soul that was inside the building. So very, very happy to report that there were no injuries.
You guys have any opportunities for aerial
Oh!
photos yesterday, whether here or in the
Well,
spotlight?
congratulations,
typically
Mr.
on a size
Motherfucker.
of fire like this, commercial warehouses, we don't use helicopters to do any airdrops. It's more for wildland
Jay
urban
Davis, what is
interface
Smoke
fighting.
the Bear?
So everything is done by ground monitors or aerial operations from ladder trucks.
Just killing
I heard
bears?
this described, I don't know if it was you guys, but I heard at some point yesterday is one of the worst fires of its kind in the country. Is that something you can corroborate, and can you talk about why that is?
Sure. So there's been distribution centers that have burned throughout our nation, but to have one,
Yes,
you know,
another
over 1 million
limit up.
square feet,
182
there's
a
only
share.
been 2 or 3 that we're aware of, and so
Honestly,
it's very, very
this is gonna
challenging.
be way more
You can
exciting
imagine it's a skyscraper
than
laying on
SpaceX,
its
I
side.
think.
It's a good way to put it in perspective. And then have you been
Still not
contacted
open.
by agencies from across the country, like a playbook going forward? What is to be learned from this? What are other agencies going to take away from this? If you had to sideline quarterback this thing in a couple weeks, is there anything that you think you could have done better or attacked it in a different way?
Yeah, we're less than 24 hours
Oh, yeah, Mr.
currently into that
Motherfucker.
incident, so we have not
Hold
had
on,
any
brother.
communication with any other agencies that have been through this before. If we run into any complications or challenges with our particular incident, we'll definitely reach out and use those resources as available.
Maximus, unclear on who started this fire. My guess is some disgruntled ex-employee. but-
Thank you.
Can you say your name on
Yep,
the record?
Exactly.
It's Brian Bagley, BrianBagley, Deputy Chief. Thank you.
All right, and that is the latest from officials coming out of California after fire destroyed a medical equipment warehouse in Northern California and sent that thick black smoke pouring into the sky. Some of that footage that we have from yesterday shared on your screen and prompted evacuations of other nearby facilities as authorities fought to get that fire under control. Once again, just hearing from officials there in Tracy, California, and that's a city about 55 miles east of San Francisco. If we get any more updates, bringing them to you here on Live Now from Fox. And thank you so much for joining us. My name is Christy Matino. I'll be here with you for about the next hour and a half. We are going to step away for our first commercial break.
Let's see, what is this? Tesla and SpaceX will likely merge over the next year. I thought I saw there was like a 50% chance of that. This is just saying straight up likely, though. According to Dan Ives, global head of technology research at Wedbush Securities. Okay. Yeah. It's just like your opinion, man. Robot rockets, robo-pilots, space taxis. Let me know when Elon puts a casino on the moon. Casino on the moon. $2037. Fuck. You're telling me I gotta live for 10 more years to see that? Jesus. Jay, bad idea. Way easier to throw your money away in low gravity. It could just float away. Probably actually slower than in the real casinos on Earth. Gotta hunt the space whales first? That's true. Okay. Okay, finally a limit down on cast. We do want to bet this just comes all the way back down to $1. Well, Dragon's Blood, of course. Well, naturally, a strip club would be attached to the casino. Obviously. Valor Equity CEO says, I plan on holding my stake in SpaceX as long as I can. What does that mean? I mean, you can hold it forever, dude. As long as my finger doesn't actually hit the sell button immediately, I plan on holding. What? Okay, buddy. Like you know you control whether you hold or not, right? 7 minutes, yeah. I'm intrigued by this SanDisk now. Feels like I should short it. Zerbs, I did not apply for any IPO shares. I'm just going to trade it as it opens, maybe. I didn't want to have to hold the shares for a certain period of time. And current opening price keeps dropping. It's 156 now for the opening price of SpaceX. 155. Low IQ, hold this. Yeah, hold this, buddy. Defense seeks delay in Charlie Kirk murder case.
States, it is true that what has to be shown is the harm under facts that relates specifically to the preliminary hearing.
Defense attorneys want prosecution held in contempt over remarks to media.
Request to preclude electronic media coverage.
Prosecution says defense spread false information, had to correct it publicly.
And the court has also said that reasonable jurists may disagree with the court's substantive conclusions and the court's ruling on our request for a stay. And what I'm suggesting respectfully is we may be in the exact same place.
Good morning,
one of the parties may be in the exact same place in the moments before the preliminary hearing, at least presently, is scheduled to begin on July 6th. So my question is, can we get a ruling from the court?
I agree, Tommy.
Sufficiently before July 6th so that if some party seeks a stay and interlocutory review, we're not doing that on July 6th or July 7th or July 8th, because by that point in time, it's too late. So we could have a ruling by WebEx. We could have argument and ruling by WebEx. I totally respect that the court has a very busy calendar, and I also understand that the preliminary hearing is starting
2 days ago,
2 days
whatever that
after
was.
the 4th of July.
Yeah, it was fun.
Which this year is a big deal. So what I'm trying to just do is plan ahead and think about whether
I like that robe boy.
the schedule that the court set, which we agree makes a significant difference in our ability
SpaceX
to
opening
litigate
price
before your honor the
$155.
issue, a way to resolve this so that we also have the ability to seek review before it's too late.
No, and
I'm literally talking about the last few days of the week before. That's, I think, what we're talking about.
And I appreciate that. And where I'm coming from is the court cannot issue anticipatory rulings. I can't go off hypotheticals.
Another limit
and
down.
I understand what you're saying.
This
I
is
recognize
done.
that
It's coming all the way back
requests
down.
have been filed. But I can't
Watch this
issue
go
a
red on the
hypothetical
day.
ruling. It has to be squarely before
Who
me.
bought it at
And
$195?
I respect what you're saying.
Who
but
was
I
that guy?
imagine that you're
Oops.
probably preparing.
And he can't even
I'm not
sell.
going to assume it's not appropriate, but perhaps you are already preparing those motions in anticipation of such media requests being filed, and in addition to anything else that you may consider, and rightfully so. And so and there's also sufficient time between now, given the ruling that the stay is not being granted, knowing that the preliminary hearing is moving forward, that it appears that there may be sufficient time for the parties to prepare accordingly. Again, the court needs to wait until it's squarely that media request is been filed. Whether the parties file motions, it's possible that the parties may or may not. I can't anticipate that, but I need to wait until it's actually before me, as opposed to trying to read the tea leaves and guess.
I'm not asking the court for tea leaves, so maybe I've been obtuse. What I'm saying is that the court's order currently provides that it will issue its ruling on any objection to an EMC request the morning of the hearing. And that's the problem. I'm not asking the court to issue a ruling now. I'm not asking the court to assume there will be an EMC request. I can tell the court that if there is an EMC request, we will file an objection to that, which shouldn't be a surprise. And so what I'm just saying is, for the orderly administration of justice, and in light of the possible judicial divergence of opinion that Your Honor has acknowledged, we are asking the court to build into the schedule that it has set for any objections to any EMC request that may be filed, a period of time before the subject hearing at which the parties would receive a ruling. And if I suggested in my statements that we are actually asking the court to assume that there's an EMC request and that we would oppose it and that we're asking for a ruling now, we're not. We think there should be a request and there should be briefing. We're just asking that the court build into the schedule a ruling moment that allows us, if necessary, or some other party, if necessary, to seek review.
Thank you, Mr.
All right, so we're listening in live there as the man accused of killing Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, is back in court today, and his attorneys are seeking to hold prosecutors in contempt for comments they made in the media about a bullet fragment recovered from Kirk's body. We'll continue that in just a matter of moments here on Live Now from Fox. But we are following a bit of breaking news, and this is very preliminary, just coming into
Active
our
shooter
newsroom here.
in Midland,
I'll bring you a
Texas.
live look of the scene in just a matter of moments. But this is coming out of Midland, Texas. And this is from the city of Midland, Texas city government, as they're saying from Midland Police Chief Snow, Midland Police responded to an active shooter incident Friday morning in the 4600 block of West Wall Street. Officers heard gunfire coming from the building and worked quickly to secure and clear the area. Armored units were deployed and partner agencies assisted in the response. Efforts to bring the standoff with the shooter to a safe resolution
SpaceX current
currently
open price
ongoing. Now, we do have a line live look at the scene here that I do want to bring to you. The camera does keep panning in and out right now. This is just a shot there.
Is this going to open below the IPO price? That would be disastrous.
So what we're going to do is step away for a commercial break. We will continue to bring you more updates on this. We're working to see if we can get more feeds in here and more information. Stay with us here on Live Now from Fox.
Well, why don't you stay live with us with either the murder trial or the active shooter? Here's a live stream of the trial.
Or bring those concerns
So we'll bring that back to the court at the appropriate time today.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Does the state wish to be heard on this issue?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Christopher Ballard on behalf of the state. I'd just like to point out that even assuming that there's a request for electronic media coverage, which the state fully assumes there will be, and that the court grants that request.
Grammy, yeah, the active shooter was in Midland, Texas.
As far as whether or not to stay things to allow
they better have cameras on this trial.
Ruling, that's really not going to change. The circumstances that the court's already articulated in its order today, those equities really aren't going to change between now and the preliminary hearing. And the appropriate procedure for reviewing a court's orders on electronic media coverage is not to pause the trial proceedings and allow defendant to seek interlocutory.
Well, tell me, yeah, SpaceX hasn't opened for trading yet.
Every order,
so as soon as it opens for trading, you'll be able to
do
see
that.
it
He has the right to do that, but that's not the appropriate remedy. I just remind the
I can see on the order book here what the current opening price will be, but that's all I can see right now.
Florida, where it's
currently 150 and 11 cents, 150
potential
even now.
Prejudice from pretrial publicity is the right to demonstrate that the coverage compromised the ability of the particular jury that heard the case to adjudicate it fairly. So defendant's claiming he doesn't have a remedy. He does have a remedy, and the remedy is to challenge the court's media order at the plenary appeal after this case is complete. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. All right, anything further before we move on?
Yes. We can take this up whenever the court wishes to take it up. And in addition to the two substantive issues, which the court calendared for today, which
Maximus, I doubt you'll fill out 100.
Issuance of an order to show
that would be wild. That would be. I don't.
And
that might not be good, honestly.
And fully briefed motion.
If it goes to 100, it might go to 60.
Concerning the constitutionality of hearsay evidence in a preliminary hearing. Mr. Robinson filed with a motion to classify a document, which I'll just describe as having privately been filed, seeking certification for an out-of-state subpoena for the preliminary hearing. And the court is nodding, so I understand that the court is aware of it.
I've reviewed that.
Okay, so again, because of timing issues, we would like at some point today
120 is possible
to receive from the court a briefing schedule on that, because out-of-state enforcement of a subpoena, if the court certifies it, is obviously something that takes a little bit of time. And in light of the court's denial of the stay, for the moment, we have to assume that if that certification is granted at our request, and by the way, we've served counsel for the witness with that request as well, okay. That we need time for an out-of-state counsel to appear in the appropriate jurisdiction and get an order enforcing that. I can't imagine that if the court granted the certification that there's going to be an issue about serving the witness, but we don't have a valid subpoena unless Your Honor certifies the application and then a court in the appropriate jurisdiction enforces.
Thank you. And I note that that was filed last night around 8:04 p.m.
It was.
what you're referring to?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm referring to.
All right. Thank you. The court will take that under advisement and figure out. Court will address that at some point today.
All right,
Thank you for bringing it to the court's attention, Mr. Novak. All right, let's continue on. Counsel for the state, could you provide a brief status update regarding Discovery?
Yes, Discovery continues to roll in and be processed and provided to the defense on Tuesday, June 9th, 2026. We sent 11 additional items to the defense.
Oh, Mr. McBride, if you wouldn't mind starting over, and yeah, that's where the live mic is. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan McBride for the state. As of June 9th, 2026, we sent 11 additional items to the defense. 10 of these items were notebooks that were obtained and requested from the defense in a discovery review. One is an 1102 statement that was provided in preparation for the preliminary hearing. This is everything, essentially everything we have from the investigative agencies to date. The percentage provided to the defense is approximately 100%.
Thank you, Mr. McBride. All right, turning to the defense motion for an order to show cause for alleged contempt of court. This is set for an evidentiary hearing and argument. The court has reviewed the briefing submitted, and each side will be afforded 90 minutes to,
Come on,
present evidence and argument.
SpaceX. What are you
Defense
doing?
intends to reserve time for rebuttal. Counsel should plan accordingly. Following argument by defense or a presentation of evidence, the court will take a 10-minute recess and then turn to the state. Because this is the defendant's motion, the defense will proceed first. Mr. Novak.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Robinson would first ask the court to direct Mr. Ballard.
NASDAQ says SpaceX needs a few more
Ballard,
hours before it can start
sworn
trading.
in?
What the hell? Is it even going to open today? This is a disaster.
All right, Mr. Ballard, if you wouldn't mind.
That was like 20 minutes ago.
To your left are water bottles, and after you're seated, if you wouldn't mind pulling that microphone.
Remy, is there a
close to you
standoff in
to
Texas
ensure
going on?
That the record.
Is there a
picks
stream
up
of it?
Your testimony. Thank you. Mr. Novak, it's your witness.
Like for 2 more weeks, right?
Mr. Ballard, what are your formal titles within the Utah County Attorney's Office?
I am the General Counsel and Public Information Officer.
Okay. You're testifying here today because the court has issued an order to show cause regarding contempt of a court order. And so there's a white notebook that I placed up there. Do you have that, sir?
I do have it, yes.
All right.
After there, we did see someone coming off of a gurney. You okay?
Yes.
And that notebook in your honor should have
That
one
happens.
as well.
We, of course, are going to stick with this. We are awaiting the city of Midland to give us an update, perhaps maybe more answers to what's going on, maybe more answers to really the whole situation, because this has been fluid since about 8:45 this morning, still active here at 10:41, almost 2 hours.
Yes.
And we still are awaiting any answers, and I know you all are as well. A lot of speculation out there. What's that? Okay, no press conference yet, so they may be still waiting to get all of their answers together and to get details. You know, I'm getting a lot of texts of information, but it's all hearsay right now. We don't
Jay
have
Davis, delaying the launch of an IPO for a company
any kind of proof of anything.
that literally launches things.
Just what folks
Not
are
a
saying. I
great
know there's
sign,
some folks that are in that area, I believe, of where this is happening. And I appreciate you texting me with that information. We'll get that once we get it approved and get it official, then we will get that information out to you. So again, we're just, this is not the way we wanted to start a Friday, not the way we wanted to start a weekend, the second weekend of June, but here we are. And the best we can hope for is that there are not a lot of serious injuries in this. That's about all we can hope for.
That is what we can hope for, of course. There apparently are victims who never.
Do you need water?
Go to the beach.
Oh,
Do
sure,
it.
we'll take one. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We do appreciate it. Our staff here working very hard behind the scenes as we're on the air now for almost a couple hours at this point.
Doug, thank you.
Yes, thank you very much to him. And again, we want to reiterate, MMH has set up a victim reunification site now at this point for those families, friends seeking answers about what has happened here. We don't know any number of victims at this point, but apparently there are victims according to Memorial Hospital. We do want to reiterate the hospital, General Hospital itself, has lifted its lockdown restrictions at 10:10 this morning. So a little over half an hour ago. However, the emergency department is under a lockdown at this moment.
Right. So you want to stay clear of that area. You want to stay out of the area, certainly there on West Wall, 4600 block. It is still active, as we know right now. They have not lifted any of that at this time, so we will urge you to stay out of that area and let law enforcement agencies do their work. This is not something they all wanted to do. And again, they're getting assistance from all across West Texas. You've got Odessa Fire Rescue, you've got Odessa Police, you've got SWAT team officers, you've got DPS, a lot of agencies who have come together on this situation. Sadly, something we didn't want to have to deal with, but here we are.
Here we are, unfortunately. And to recap where we are this morning at 10:40.
I need more coffee too.
June 12th is that there is a armed, barricaded shooter inside of a building on the 4600 block of West Wall.
Good to
Police
see you
DPS specifically saying to
Has
avoid
the
the area
race war
of Faston
started
and
yet?
Wall Street,
Did
which is
Elon
also
crash the
Business 20.
market?
We're awaiting an update now from City Council
Will Trump
Chambers.
come out as
You can let us
Donald
know
Pump?
when to go. Okay, they're getting ready to go. We're about to go to them any moments now for an update on what exactly is going on. But we do know this standoff, they're calling it, is still ongoing inside one of the buildings there along 4600 West Wall Street in Midland.
So we have a
we're going to go
standoff in Midland,
They're
Texas.
miking them up currently right now. I have a view of it off the screen.
We've
We will
got
not miss it. We'll bring it to you
stuff
as
going
soon
on
as
in
we
the
have it.
Charlie
And
Kirk
again,
murder
we're receiving
trial.
a lot of information
We're waiting
here.
for
We have
SpaceX
to
to
verify,
start trading.
of course, to make sure there's a lot of rumors, especially we've seen this before.
Right.
A lot of rumors, a lot of information. We've already seen some bit of information that has not been fully accurate.
Correct.
And we want to make sure everything we do get is correct, is to the best of our abilities as we pass it along to you at home to keep yourself and your family safe. In the meantime, let's listen in now to City Council Chambers for an update from the City of Midland.
We have statements and then we'll open it up and...
Should I step back some?
You're good there. You're good for me.
Alright.
Should I button this so they don't?
Carl, you think we should just try it or should I record it? Should I just record it?
Okay, we're still waiting. They're getting in place. You see Mayor Lori Blong, along with fellow city council members as well, getting ready to provide an update, Jay, a long-awaited update. They said we're meeting at about 10:30, so they're still working together as much as possible to share with the public. And of course, other stations, we're all there, of course, keeping an eye on this, and we're gathering, waiting to get started on this press conference, which should begin any moment now in City Council chambers. You can see other council members there as well. It's now 10:45 this morning, waiting an update on this standoff that is ongoing, at least the latest information coming from Texas DPS and the Midland Police Department with Chief Snow's statement within the last half hour or so.
Oh, oops, I forgot to turn my mic back off. All right, I'm in for 16 shares. Let's see what SpaceX is going to do. My price is 150.58. All right, we're moving up. We're moving higher. And at almost 155, 155. Are we going to bust through that? Yep. 156. 157. So far, this was a good buy. $158. When should I sell? 159. $160 almost. No, this is live market, Maximus. It's trading. I might just go ahead and take my profit off the table. Feels like it's struggling at 160. Well, I think if it gets through it, it goes higher. Damn, there's a large sell order at 160. 700,000 shares at 160. And they're getting bought up. Holy crap, 162. This is insane. 162. It's feeling a little heavy up here. 163. I think I'm going to take some profit off the table. All right, I'm out. I got out at 162. It's dropping. Damn, that was a good sell. That was a good sell. It's 156. I pretty much just hit the high. We're coming back up, though. Black bar. Damn. I bought at 150 open and sold at 162, basically the high. I'm going to let this cool down a little bit. Auspice, we're day traders now. Yeah, this is a day trading stream now. I don't know, it feels like it's struggling at 160. Unfortunately, you can't short yet, Chuck Foods. You can't short yet. But yeah, massive sell orders coming through. There's already been 105 million shares traded. That's insane. That is insane. This is currently a $2 trillion company. Okay, what are we doing here? I don't know if I should jump back in or not. Maybe I should have. No. Still some massive sell orders coming through. 110 million share volume. All right. Here's some buys coming in. I think if it can break through 163, then it's got room to run. Otherwise, it's coming back down. Black Friday 2.0. Grammy, yeah, I think I'll come back in and be a long-term buyer several months from now after it cools down. I don't really want to buy today and hold long-term. Just because this could go wild over the next couple months. And once shares are unlocked from the insiders 6 months from now, it will drop some. And that's usually the best time to buy IPOs, is after insiders sell. Okay, it did break through 163. Can it hold, though? Can it hold 163? 164. All right, I'm going to buy back in, see if it can't push through 164. Struggling at 164. Okay. All right. 165. I don't like it. Taking it off the table. Small profit on that trade. Oh. Well, 166, 167. Does this go to 200 today? Does it do it? This is wild. Now a $2.2 trillion company. Elon Musk is officially a trillionaire, by the way. Yeah, I agree, Zone Sake. It's moving really fast, and I don't like it. I think I'm gonna wait for it to settle down some, see where it kind of evens out here. In the meantime, it could go to 200 without me, which, whatever. 167, 168 almost. IPO company, $2.2 trillion day one. That is absolutely insane. What's the rest of the market doing? Nothing. The entire market is focused on this stock. And it is up 10% from the opening price. It's not bad, considering how high this was. It is cooling down, though. Kind of finding its footing here around 166, 165. This is not going to be easy to trade. I don't like it. I'm glad I got those 2 trades in and made a little money, but it's glad. It does feel like the powers that be are trying to make a major shift in our economy with this IPO. Absolutely. Grammy, 11 dead, 1 hurt in Texas. Thanks for the update, since I couldn't continue to watch that press conference. Any word, is the shooter still barricaded in, Grammy? It's still, I mean, it looks like it likes the, 164, 165 area. I say. This is insane. Almost 150 million shares have been traded already in less than 15 minutes. Yeah, no, 11 hurt, I think. Okay, Grammy, don't worry about it. I'm sure I could find out. I thought you were maybe watching the press conference.
But again, you still see Midland Mayor Lori Blanc, who last spoke a little over an hour and a half ago at this point.
Here's the audio of the press conference. Yeah, 11 people shot, 1 dead.
Again, they are working with, if they're asking you to work with United Way if you want to do any donations, because people have already tried to reach out. They talked about the blood banks. You mentioned that as well, Matthew, that a lot of people want to try to help out in any way. Again, Lori Blanc saying he's either contained or detained, but as you can see, it's still active and still
contained
blocked
or
off.
detained.
Doesn't appear to be as frantic, perhaps, as it was before. So maybe that is a sign that perhaps this has been contained. We will get the official word, obviously, from Midland Police as that information is released. We'll be looking at social media accounts and all for City of Midland as well as the Midland Police Department just to see what update comes from that. But once again, out of the news conference that just wrapped up from the city, was scheduled for 10:30. It was a little behind, but you might imagine it takes a while to get people in place and to get all that information out. Once again, reiterating, 11 shot, 1 dead, sadly, and the extent of the other injuries,
in Texas,
were not released from Mayor Lori Blanc. We don't know when that information will be disseminated.
Yes, and of course, we expect them to, of course, provide another update as this continues to evolve as well. But I want to reiterate that reunification information. If you're tuning in and you're seeking information on one of the 11 victims, unfortunately, 1 killed, the family reunification for victims is at the main campus of Midland Memorial Hospital. Family members may enter through the main entrance doors, the normal doors that you would enter the hospital, and gather in the hospital cafeteria, which, if you're familiar, is just right in to the main entrance of the hospital itself. They do ask you to avoid the hospital if you're not in need of emergency medical attention. The ER, the emergency room, remains.
Well, what are you hearing, Grammy? Because they just said here that
has lifted the lockdown
he was
15 minutes
refrained
ago. They also
or
gave a phone
detained.
number for the Family Unification Center. It's 432-631-4689. We'll give that to you a few times, but again, 432-631-4689 if you need information or looking for someone perhaps in this particular situation. You can call that number for the Family Reunification Center.
Absolutely, and of course this is still rapidly evolving. We want to talk about how this all started. This began just about 8:45 in the morning. We're receiving reports of heavy police presence in a specific area along Business 20 here, which is also Wall Street for those who don't know. West Loop 250 is where the area essentially was blocked off initially all the way up to Midland Drive. We're initially told it happened at one location. Turned out not to be the case. It's actually down the street a little bit. And of course, that's what happens in these situations.
I might be a buyer at 150
we get
again
one
if it
bit of
drops
information
down
turns
there.
out to be a little bit different than what reality showed. So we're still following this. We're still getting information. It's good to hear from city officials directly like that. We appreciate them for stepping out to be able to take some time to update the media and update you
already
at home,
back down
the
to
public,
108,
with
105.
unfortunate news in that 11 people
Went from 1
have been
to
a part of
almost
this, or
2,
victims of
all
this,
the way
and
back
one is
down.
confirmed dead, and notably on scene, she said.
Yeah, and certainly not the way they wanted to spend their Friday. Sadly, that Midland Odessa once again thrust into this. We had the other one back in 2019, and here we are again, and that's a sad situation. We don't know also if this is related to the situation from yesterday. We don't know if this is the same person. That will be a key fact to see who this particular person is, and get any information we can on that.
And they were very hesitant about discussing getting into the suspect yet because they don't know just yet.
Right.
We're still, I mean, sure, the police on scene have information, but it's not ready to be disseminated to the public like we've talked about. And yes, it is unfortunate to be in this position again because unfortunately it is what we were unfortunately thinking it was. It's active shooter with 11 victims in Midland this morning. It's tragic news. At 11 this morning, a busy Friday morning turned tragic.
Looks like the SpaceX hype has already died.
Situation. This is not done yet. It is contained, which is good news. It's in one single location, surrounded with what Mayor Larry Blanc called a perimeter that has been established, and we can see that perimeter well established with multiple agencies, including the Ector County Sheriff's Office, DPS, Midland Police, Midland Sheriff's Office, and even the Lubbock County Sheriff's Office and SWAT team now going to Midland to be able to support the efforts in possibly negotiating with this suspect that remains holed up this morning.
You would think, though, by the demeanor of these folks you're seeing on camera right now, they appear to be talking and appear to be calm, not in any kind of stressful situation. So perhaps that was what Mayor Larry Blanc was saying, that this was either contained or that this person was detained. And, of course, we'll get more information, hopefully, on that.
Just got an update from the Texas Department of Transportation, All lanes of Business 20 from Thomason to Loop 250, including the north and south frontage roads, which are on the sides of Wall Street there, closed due to law enforcement investigation. We can see that clearly on our screen now. At this time, there's no estimated time for reopening. Avoid the area this morning.
Yeah, seek alternate routes, and they'll share more information, obviously, as it becomes available. So a good update there from them. And so, again, there's still some questions that need to be answered, and we'll get those, I'm sure, as we move on.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
Tasa just sent another one. Okay, we'll pull. I think you read that one,
in
did you not?
preparation, Isabella is ready to go. In preparation for that, we'll go to her in just a moment.
Here's an update. Midland Memorial Hospital has received 9 victims from the active shooter incident. 4 are in the operating room and 5 are stable. That is the update from Midland Memorial Hospital. Again, they received 9 victims from the active shooter situation. 4 are in the operating room and 5 are stable. So that is the update from Tasa Richardson with Midland Memorial Hospital. So that kind of spells out what we are learning.
Okay, absolutely. We're going to work on getting those images from Midland Memorial Hospital. Isabella Griega working hard to get us the information. Isabella, we have her on phone. We will get to you in just a second. We're going to get it set up. In the meantime, though, we're still working with these images that we have here from Eisenhower, Business 20. A huge perimeter has been set up here. Officers, deputies in tactical gear, the troopers as well. The latest information, though, from Midland Memorial Hospital, they are treating 9 victims out of the 11 that we've been told about. One of those was killed, so 10 still under treatment, 4 in the operating room, 5 are stable. We're not sure where the other extra one is to line up with the City of Midland's information.
Well, remember, she talked to the one guy who said he was shot in the arm and was walking around.
That's true.
So perhaps he was just treated and released. So that may be the one where
very good point indeed. Of course, and we're going to check in with Isabella Griega just shortly here as we recap that this situation is still unfolding as we speak right now. 11:05 this morning on this Friday, June 12th, as that suspect remains holed up in a building, a room somewhere along 4600 West Wall. Still trying to nail down exactly where, but they do have a perimeter surrounded, calling it contained.
Yeah, we'll be watching, of course, social media. We want to check with certainly Midland Police Department. We'll keep up to date with that and see exactly when or if they're going to release information on if this is contained or not. You would assume by the demeanor we saw with those folks who were on the scene that this may be a calmed down situation now, but we don't have official word on that yet.
Not just yet.
We know they're still there.
Absolutely. Do we have Isabella yet?
Yeah, she's right
in
there.
Production?
Yes.
She's ready on our end. Let's go to Isabella Griega now with an update. Isabella, what are you hearing?
Hi there, Matthew and Jay. Right now, again, that latest update is, if you are just joining us, Midland Memorial Hospital has received 9 victims from the active shooter incident. Now 4 are on the operating table and 5 are stable at this moment. From what I've been seeing, we're about as close as we can get, and from what I've been seeing, more law enforcement agencies are joining. We've had 2 tow trucks going in. Luke is going to show you the scene here right now. Again, we're about as close as we can get. We have a helicopter on the pad here, and I did want to make a clarification that the Unification Center, for if people are worried about their family members and their loved ones, you will meet in the cafeteria.
Okay.
That is the latest update that we have. We have Midland Memorial personnel with us right now, so we're getting the latest updates as you get them. I'm going to read that press release that they sent around 10:30, just to have that information out there. At approximately 8:20 in the morning, Midland Memorial Hospital went on lockdown due to an active shooter event in Midland. At 10:10, Midland Memorial Hospital lifted the lockdown for the main campus. However, the emergency department remained locked until further notice. MMH has established a reunification for victims and families. Again, that is going to be that new correction. It's in the cafeteria, and people can enter through the main doors, and you will be directed as needed. Now, please avoid that hospital if you are not in need of an emergency, or if you are not looking for a family member or worried for a family member. And of course, this is still an active situation. As you said, Jay, it does seem to be calming down a little bit at this point, but everyone should stay safe and stay as far away as you can from any of these areas that we've reported for you to stay away from. But back to you guys in the studio, and thank you.
All right, Isabella, thanks very much. Again, as you were hearing, 9 victims at the hospital. You heard 4 in surgery, 5 stable, and she did talk to one who, again, we saw him, I believe, walking around the parking lot as well, who appeared to be bandaged up, but was walking. So that may be the other one, because that would then count out the 11 people if we're following their numbers.
Absolutely, and still following also that vehicle we saw earlier in the morning. I'll have to look back and see if I can get a snippet of that photo of that truck that was shot out.
Had the window shot out.
Yeah, so that likely appears to be
Could
possibly
have been the one shot in the arm.
Yeah, so we're not sure. We're still working to put all that together as well. But I want to remind you again, the scene is very active. We can go back and show you that now. That's the live imagery of where this is all happening along Business 20 and Eisenhower here. And again, this is the 4600 block of Wall Street in Midland of West Wall. Towards the not the interstate.
Motherfucker.
250.
Yep, SpaceX is open. It opened at 150, currently at 162.
Has now been closed off. And they were saying to specifically avoid the area of Fasken in Business 20, which helps us get an idea of where they're working with here, that side road there off of the Business 20 itself.
Yeah, Mayor Lori Blanc, of course, saying during her news conference, contained or detained. And so, but you can tell by the demeanor, too, of those law enforcement agencies. That they are...
You said, what, contained in hell?
Seem to be calmed down a bit. So maybe perhaps that this is coming to a conclusion. We can only hope for the best. We hope that there's not anything more related to this. But as you can see, they are still there and still have that road blocked off.
Absolutely. And I believe we have Lauren Munt. Lauren can hear me.
Lauren Munt.
Let us know what you're
What a
seeing
name.
out there. We can see a heavy police presence behind you. We know that, of course, it's Eisenhower. What have you been seeing out there? If you can hear me, give us the latest update.
We're here. We found a bit of a better vantage point. You remember we were across the street here on Business 20. We've kind of stepped onto the other side here on West Wall for a more clear shot of this investigation and what is going on. We're seeing several law enforcement agencies from across. I know we had mentioned when we were on the other side that we could see them kind of going and landing here, but now we're really seeing all of them here all at once kind of in this area as they continue to block off the scene and investigate this very active situation. As you guys heard, several victims, one confirmed dead. I'm going to step out of frame here just so you guys can see, and we can zoom in a little bit more and see what is going on in this, again, very active scenes. Law enforcement agencies from all across the area. Again, we're here in the parking lot of the Victorian Inn, which you might remember was where we kind of originally were reporting where the shooter was. Again, that was told to us by an officer on the other side of the scene. We can confirm that is not where the shooter is. He is not at the Victorian Inn. He's just down the road there. It was just what we were originally told by an officer on scene. But as we continue to kind of learn a little bit more about this developing horrible situation here in Midland County,
huge sell orders
we're looking
at 165.
there again at all of those officers, an ambulance over there. We are helicopter kind of coming just above us right now. That is a DPS
SpaceX.
Helicopter. There's another one, another DPS helicopter just over the way. We've seen 2 of them so far. They've been circling the area for over an hour now as they continue with this developing scene. We've also been told that there's more law enforcement agencies from surrounding counties on the way.
Cells at 165.
Just a horrific, tragic event that happened here in Midland. All of our law enforcement agencies, all of our officers, all of our first responders here on scene, continuing to protect the community and trying to protect the community even more after this situation that unfolded. I really, genuinely, Jay and Matthew, don't have any other words to say other than we've been standing here with people who heard those gunshots. A horrible, traumatic event for them. When they were speaking to me earlier, saying that they just couldn't believe how many shots that they heard. Several of them shutting down businesses for the day. Everyone going home as they're just in shock over this horrible event that happened here in Midland. We'll go ahead and keep you guys here on this shot, zoom out a little bit more so you guys can see. We've got police tape just to the left of us here that I'm going to try and move the camera for you guys to see.
Total rejection at 165.
Police tape right there. That's just, I mean, maybe 100 yards from where we are here on West Wall Street in the parking lot of the
Jay
Victorian
Davis, I'll take a burger.
As the helicopters continue to circle around us and we work to learn more for you guys on what is going on in this horrible situation. We'll go ahead and send it back to you guys in studio as we continue to learn more about this.
Okay, Lauren, as you can tell, this is still an evolving situation. Very active. Police are still trying to determine how the best course of action here. They're working with multiple agencies all the way up from Lubbock coming to help with this.
Yeah, and as you can see, they have not cleared that area. It is still active. You hear the helicopters that are still flying around. This is still being treated as an active situation. And so we are learning more about it. As we heard from the news conference, again, 11 people shot. We have been told that one is confirmed dead. The others, there were some in surgery. There were also some being treated and several that were stable. We were also trying to follow up. We had received word that the OA had confirmed that one person was at MCH. We are trying to confirm that, see if we can get that information.
It's still very fluid. Again, 11 victims, at least one killed in this incident. Mayor Lori Blanc pointing out that person died on scene.
Right.
The scene, of course, we're still trying to, it's on the 4600 block of West Wall Street. You see it surrounded by multiple law enforcement agencies across the board. And so just to reiterate, this shooter has now holed himself up into a building of some sort there along Wall Street, and police are now trying to actively work to get him out or neutralize the threat.
And we're not sure if they have, because remember, Lori Blanc said contained or detained.
Or detained, yes.
So it's possible this is just wrapping up and they are just closing up the scene and that kind of thing. So as we get more information, we'll continue to look at social media and get updates. Many of you have been reaching out to us as well with information you have heard, and until we get that confirmed, we cannot pass that along, but we are working to do that. So thank you for sending your information in, and we are looking at that.
Absolutely. And of course, any information you do get, make sure you do so safely. Of course, we want you to stay away from this perimeter they have set up, which is from West Loop 250 at Business 20 all the way down to Midland Drive and likely even almost up to Midkiff at this point. But they want you to avoid specifically the area of Faskin Drive and Business 20. This entire area going to be under investigation for quite some time. The entirety of Business 20 is just full of law enforcement, DPS chopper circling overhead. And again, just to recap, this mass shooting involving 11 victims, one dead, and we've heard multiple are now at, as Isabella Grigg reported, at Midland Memorial Hospital being treated.
Yeah, and so we will get further updates as we get more information. We've also had some video sent in of cars that are being towed away from the hospital, and we'll try to get that to you as well. Again, we're trying to follow down some of the leads that many of you called us in, and we appreciate all of your efforts in trying to send us messages, and we are working to get those confirmed. Again, still active. This has not been wrapped up by any official source yet, and so we will continue to bring you coverage here and get you up to date on what we know about it. We know we're recapping a lot, but we want to remind you because you may be popping in and out, and so we don't want to make sure that folks miss any of the information that has been passed out so far.
And speaking of earlier in our broadcast, within the last hour or so, we got video from a viewer of shots being fired when this situation was unfolding a bit earlier. If we have that production, if we can bring that video back up to be able to hear those shots being fired off a bit earlier from viewer video. Let's take a listen to that if we have it ready to go from a bit earlier in our show. You can hear some of the noise. Let's listen.
Okay. A lot of shots.
Damn! And you can hear back-to-back non-stop, and you can see we are looking at the same area where our camera is currently sitting at right now. You can see those light poles. It's the same area. You can see some of the businesses that you know to be along Business 20 there. We will have other visuals, other perspectives as well as we continue to follow this story. We have crews located across the entirety of Midland right now, from the hospital, City Council. Telemundo 20 is there on scene alongside our Lauren Munt, who's also been on scene for hours now. But again, as we approach the bottom of the 11 o'clock hour, there's a lot going on and a lot of questions still to be answered. Although city leaders in the last hour have given a lot of answers to those questions, and it's not exactly what we want to hear, not at all, is that 11 victims have now been part of this mass shooting incident that is still underway as the suspect, the alleged shooter in this incident, has now hauled himself up. He is in a standoff situation with police at this very moment in time there along the 4600 block of West Wall Street in Midland. That is the best address we have. We don't know exactly what building still at this moment. And again, we're still working to figure out the clarification during the press conference, whether detained or contained. We do know the threat has been contained, as that's what we're hearing from Midland Police as well.
Okay, this is a city saying not to, we had given you a number earlier. Lori Blong, I think during her news conference, gave a number for people to get information at the Family Reunification Center. We are not going to get that back out to you. I believe that's someone's personal phone, and so they did not want that number out. So we will leave that alone, but there is a reunification center there at the hospital, and you are to go in, I believe, and go to the cafeteria, and then they're going to send you to that reunification area if you need to. Again, the information that came out of the news conference, 11 shot, as you heard. We did have one dead on the scene, and the others, there were some in surgery and some that are in recovery and are stable conditions. So as we get more information, we'll certainly pass that along.
Some of the other information we learned earlier was that the hospital was initially under a full lockdown from earlier this morning when the incident first happened up until 10:10, a bit over an hour ago. The general hospital itself has been lifted from the lockdown. However, their emergency department, as in certain trauma situations and shootings specifically, remains under a lockdown even right now as they continue to try to help some of these victims who have been taken to Midland Memorial Hospital for treatment. We're getting information on individual victims of this case where they may have not all been taken to Midland Memorial Hospital. We are working on that information as well. We will get that in the next few minutes. In the meantime, though, of course, we have crews stationed throughout. We have those live images, of course, from Midland at the scene itself. A lot of active imagery there. Let's go ahead and bring that back up if we can over at Business 20 and Eisenhower. Let's go to Business 20 there. There's all of the agencies who have now descended upon this standoff situation that remains underway now hours into this incident.
And we've told you they come from all over. You see an Odessa police cruiser pulling up there. There are DPS there. We had Odessa Fire Rescue who were there, Midland Fire Department, DPS. This is still a lot of police that are there. We assume that they are still wrapping this up. We have heard information that perhaps this has been, or the person has been contained or detained, and so we are waiting for that official information from Midland Police. We might look and see if there's an update from Midland Police. So again, we are updating from Midland Memorial Hospital that 9 victims from the active shooter incident, 4 in the operating room, 5 are stable. 1 person has been confirmed dead. Let's see. Mayor Lori Blong said during her news conference that the suspect was contained but not in custody. So we will, of course, await that information. We are going to be checking on Midland Police on their social media page to see if there's any update. Nothing yet. What is the latest?
Nothing much still, just Family Reunification site with information on what you need to know. So if you do need information on someone who may be missing in your family or friends, you're able to reach out to the Family Reunification Center set up at Midland Memorial Hospital. Someone will be able to help you and direct you in the right direction here. But again, that information there at Midland Memorial Hospital, you can reach out to them for that assistance. Of course, a lot of people have now been already, the generosity of West Texans knows no bounds in the face of tragedy, especially today.
Total shares
and many people are wanting to donate and help as best they can, and you can do so by reaching out to the United Way, according to Midland Mayor Lori Blong.
Okay, you're getting a closer look at some of those vehicles. A lot of them appear to be Odessa police vehicles that are there, but you see other law enforcement as well. And so this is on Business 20 or Wall Street, and that would be around the area where we were told that was the active scene. And so they are still there at this time, keeping that scene there. And so we are waiting, obviously, official word. And so that is the situation there. I also see a SWAT vehicle there as well, so that gives you an idea of the law enforcement agencies who were there.
Absolutely. And of course, we're getting our other crews ready to go to be able to provide us the latest information and updates as we get them. Alongside Lauren Munt, Isabella Garriga, we also have Telemundo 20's Patsy Casas. She has been keeping track of the situation from her perspective, her vantage point, which, Jay, for reference, is not from here. It's actually on the opposite side of where this is all happening, in the area of Faskin, Midland Drive, and that area. That's where she is earlier. If we're ready for her just yet, let me know. We can go and toss to her.
Yeah, it looks like she's ready. Okay. All right, let's go to Patsy Casas, Telemundo 20. Patsy, what do you have?
you got for us, Patsy?
Thank you for joining us. I'm Patsy Casas. We are live at the corner of Thomason and Waugh. We've been here since a little bit after 9 o'clock. We were at Medical Center, Midland Memorial Hospital this morning, and as soon that we heard, of course, that it was a very active scene again along West Waugh, next to these hotels that are on West Waugh in the service road. We came this area to, of course, bring you the information. We have been live for about 2 hours. Again, this is an ongoing information or ongoing situation. We did receive information on behalf of officials to let us know to stay away from this area. So if you're anybody that has to be in this area this morning, please stay away, as it is a very active scene. We also did receive information.
Lynn, we're just watching the SpaceX IPO. There was a shooting in Midland, Texas. There was some stuff going on with the Charlie Kirk trial.
That's the information that we
normal day.
Again, this morning as well, we did receive information from Tasa Richardson from Midland Memorial Hospital to tell us that this morning, briefly, Midland Memorial Hospital had been on lockdown, but then it had been lifted. Now, we do want to mention that there is only one area that if you need to go into Midland Memorial Hospital, again, has been lifted, as I said, about 10:10. However, the emergency department will remain locked down until further notice. Now, we also did receive a phone number from Mayor Lori Blanc. If you are related to any of these people that have been
Medical Equipment Fire, California. That was yesterday,
in this area, they are asking that you call that number. We will have that number for you from the control room. But it is only, they are stressing again that it is only a phone number for people that are related to anybody that was hurt in the situation. Right now, we are seeing a very active scene. Again, if you're having to drive around Thomason Drive and also West Waugh, please find alternate routes, which they are directing you towards the left, going from, again, Thomason Drive onto the east, West Waugh. And of course, you are not able to access any of the businesses, which is like All-American Dodge or Subaru or any of like Super 8 Hotel, Days Inn, West Wind Motel, or any of those, as this situation is ongoing. And of course, it is a very active scene. We also did see 2 helicopters flying over the area. Those are Texas Rangers helicopters. Again, we are receiving information that one person is dead. They are not telling us who this person is as of now, and of course we're waiting to see more information on as to who the person that passed away is. But also 11 people have been hurt, and again 4 are on the operation table as we speak. And again, at approximately 8:20, Midland Memorial Hospital went on lockdown to
Elon Musk, officially a trillionaire.
In Midland 1010, Midland Memorial Hospital have lifted the lockdown. MMH has established a family reunification for victims, families of the main campus of Midland Memorial Hospital. Family members may enter through the main entrance doors and gather in hospital area. Again, this is a very active scene. We are going to stay here on location. I am Patsy Casas with First Alert 7, and again, we are on location at Thomason and West Waugh. If you have to access this area or come to any one of these businesses, please find alternate routes. Back to you in the studio.
Zone Take 100K isn't even a penny to him.
Of course,
at
we're
$1 trillion.
Get different vantage points, different perspectives of this entire scene that's unfolding and is really happening across all of Midland. Of course, this shooter himself holed up in one singular contained location.
Right.
But now the hospital's been involved because of all the victims taken to there.
Right. You did see, if you noticed when Patsy was on, there were some vehicles that were moving along too. You saw a TACMED ambulance that went through. You could see some of the fire trucks, some of the ambulances that were kind of making their way. So they may be leaving the scene at this time or beginning to wrap things up. But we are still waiting for that. And again, what we know today is that 11 people were shot, one dead, and there are a bunch in the hospital right now, some in surgery, some that are in stable condition.
1% of $1 trillion.
And we did, or at least Isabella Garilla spoke with one person who was outside of the hospital that said he had been shot in the arm.
Yeah, absolutely. And earlier, you may remember in our stream and our cut in here that we had video imagery of a truck that had been shot up, the windows broken out. We're getting a better vantage point now, Jay. This is in front of the Midland Memorial Hospital Emergency Room Department, and you can see the windows all shot out. It appears to be shot out.
And it's kind of unclear what happened. The shooter has been
imagine the situation
retained,
pulling up like this is what I'm taking away from this.
Possibly detained,
and this person
possibly dead.
Seeking help. Of course,
not being super
all
clear
speculation.
on it.
Of course, we don't know what happened with this, but this is all taped in this lockdown emergency room at
came all the way back up
not long ago.
And the particular man in the blue shirt was the one that walked up to her saying he had been shot in the arm. So he may be one of the victims or may have received a gunshot wound, but he was walking around.
No info on the
suspect,
so yeah, that tells you everything you
what
need
he
to
told
know.
her. And I think they towed this vehicle away.
Okay, so this was a bit earlier. That's good news to hear in light of all of this situation. That, you know, we have at least one person we can say has been accounted for. He seems to be okay. Walking around, of course, with officials. And as we move through the rest of the scene, of course, reminder, Midland Memorial Hospital remains on lockdown like this. The emergency room, that truck may have been towed away, probably for evidence as police continue their investigation.
Could have been.
And it will continue on through the rest of the day.
SpaceX seems to want to settle around $165 a share.
The standoff's now been going on 3 hours at the minimum
so is
now.
the standoff still going on?
Taking away from Mayor Lori Blanc's press conference at about an hour ago, it was interesting saying that the situation started in southeast Midland and made its way to southwest Midland where we are now. Very interesting statement
Lynn.
from her coming a little bit earlier.
And she just posted 9 minutes ago on Facebook. Here's the latest. Midland, I want to give you the most current information we have. There was an active shooter in the city. Law enforcement establishing a perimeter. All agencies responded. She says there are 11 victims. At least one person has lost their life. This is an ongoing investigation. We cannot confirm additional details until law enforcement has completed a thorough review and all facts are established. She mentions the reunification centers. A lot of this was things that she brought up during her news conference. She said, please note that Facebook experienced an outage. We told you about that. She wraps this up by saying, my heart breaks for the victims and their families. We are praying for every person touched by today's events and for the law enforcement officers who risk their own safety to protect our community. She posted that 9 minutes ago on Facebook from Mayor Lori Blanc in Midland.
And I think we share that sentiment wholly across West Texas today. As this is an absolute tragedy that has unfolded and has struck our community yet again this morning on this June 12th, 2026. But it's very, tough time for all those people who are involved in this.
Sure. This is something they won't forget. Again, it's too close to the one we had before in 2019, and here we are once again. And it is a sad thing that we have to deal with. The response by the law enforcement agencies, amazing. I mean, the fact that all those people can come together and can bring this to a close if it is indeed closed. And by all indications, I mean, you're looking at a scene right now that does not appear to be near as hectic as it was earlier. And you know, because you were looking at live images, and those folks were all business as they were trying to get their job done. And now it appears to be perhaps
5
calmed down a
hours
bit.
away
That's what
from
we can
Midland.
hope, and that perhaps this is over with.
Absolutely, and we hope for a good resolution to this. Of course, unfortunately, we did confirm that there were many people involved in this, 11 total.
Right.
One person has lost their life, and others are in the hospital right now being treated. So a lot of things are happening right now. We can go back to the scene and show you what Jay's talking about that scene not being as chaotic. If you were with us at the beginning of this broadcast, this was almost 3 hours ago, 2.5 total. At 9 o'clock, this scene was unfolding rapidly. We were at Market Street, which is just south of Interstate. Not the store, the street itself. There goes one of the armored units.
Vehicles are starting to pull away, and that's
which is interesting. This could signify something. It may not. We're still trying to figure out as well. We were located south of the tracks there on Industrial and Market Street. There was a lot going on. Multiple agencies were still responding actively, including Odessa Police.
Yeah, Strongman chopping sideways.
And we're still trying to track down.
Seems like it wants to settle around the 165 area.
because you don't know what's going on.
No, we were still trying to figure out where this exactly was going on, try to get out the best information we had at the time. And in the meantime, this has now evolved.
Could be, Lynn.
At least we can say this has been contained, according to Mayor Lori Blanc. Still trying to clarify some of the details around that. We do know 4600 block of West Wall is where this is all centered out, specifically staying away from the Fasken area. Eisenhower, this is where they're staged at. You're looking here, Eisenhower and Business 20.
And again, you see more vehicles who are pulling out, getting out of that way, getting off the scene. And so perhaps that means we're getting closer to closure on this. The sad part of that, you're seeing that there on your screen. That lower tells you everything. 11 victims, at least one dead. Active shooter scene secure in Midland. That's according to Mayor Lori Blanc. No details yet. We don't know any other situation on the shooter or anything like that, but we, again, from her, contained and the scene secure. So heartbreaking news for the city of Midland. Not something that you want to deal with. Matthew and I sadly have dealt with this before back in 2019, and here we are again. It's not something you really wanted to do, but here we are.
Absolutely. I mean, it's
Texas
part
is
of,
inside of it.
Covering this story is very intense and very tough, of course, but let's get an update now.
United
Scene
States
update from this very location. First Lieutenant Norman, who's been operating this camera as well, trying to gather information. Let's hear from her this morning. Lauren, What do you know?
Yeah, guys, we're here. We've been kind of here at this scene since this all began at 8:15 this morning. I'm starting to see officers clear the area. We just saw 2 big armored SWAT trucks leave the area. They've all kind of headed down that direction. We don't know what that means. We don't know if that means that there's still something going on. Usually when they're clearing the scene, it means that something has happened. We have no details on that quite yet, but I can tell you that they are starting to clear the scene. OPD officers, you can see kind of moving down that way. Again, we saw 2 armored vehicles. We saw them pull in at 8 o'clock this morning. We are seeing them leave the scene right now. We don't know what that means for the investigation, but I'll step away here just so you guys can see and try and zoom in a little bit there on those officers as they continue to kind of try and clear the area. If you were with us earlier in that shot, you could see there were dozens more officers there. There's some ECSO officers leaving the area. I'll try and pan the camera so you guys can see as they kind of continue to head out. We don't know, again, what that means for the investigation, but the officers are clearing the area. There's another SWAT vehicle kind of just behind there. You guys can, let me turn it so you guys can see there a little bit. Another SWAT vehicle. Again, they're all kind of starting to clear the area now. We've heard some officers say that they're getting ready to head out. Again, this is Business 20, Wall Street, Industrial, that whole area where everything has taken place, where the whole investigation has gone on. We've been out here since 8 o'clock this morning as a lot of these officers started to arrive on scene, but we are seeing them start to kind of fade out and leave the area. We'll continue to keep you guys updated as we learn more about what this means for the situation. We do not know if that means that it's over, or if it just means that they're moving and making way for some other officers or anything else, but we do know at this time there are several officers who are clearing the area. I'm going to go ahead and send it back to you guys in studio. We'll keep this shot up for y'all as we continue to learn a little bit more.
There's a shooting in Midland, Texas. 11 hurt, 1 dead.
All right, Lauren, thanks very much. We're also wanting to share some video that was sent to us. This is of gunfire that was taking place with police, and we are learning this was by the Tall City Veterinary Hospital, which if you look it up, it says it is permanently closed, so that could be a vacant building. This could be where this situation is. You and I have heard this, but we don't know this for sure, but this was where this was taken. So let's take a listen to this.
That's smaller than what he was shooting a while ago. That's a different vehicle. That's a different gun.
I love how they're just analyzing the shots. This is so Texas. Like that right there.
Gunshot. You can see the officers shooting from behind those vehicles. This was in the area of the Tall City Veterinary Hospital, which, as we have learned, is permanently closed. And so that abandoned building may have been where this person was. We don't know that for sure, but that's where this video was taken. And there you see those law enforcement, and you heard the number of shots that were fired.
Tons of shots, unfortunately. You can see those police officers taking cover as this situation was unfolding. This was seems to be a little while ago, a few hours ago possibly. We're not exactly sure when this was shot, when it came from, of course, but we wanted to share this imagery with you to give you an update of how intense the situation is and why the perimeter on this is so large with these kind of things happening like this. So, of course, stay back, of course, if you can. Again, this is happening around the Tall City Veterinary Clinic area. This to give you an idea of where this is happening. You said it says permanently closed, which is interesting to note for sure.
Yeah.
And again, they say they have this contained. 11 victims, at least 1 dead is what we know right now. This is new video we got in earlier. You hear shots being fired one after another. And going back now live out to the scene, there's
can we show this live footage from the scene? Because you can see all these vehicles are beginning to pull away now. There's a SWAT vehicle. There's a Sheriff's Department car. You can see it appears that folks are beginning to clear out of this area, hopefully getting this back open. Also, somebody I noticed had posted, when did Wall Street become Business 20? Well, it's always been Business 20 from Loop 250 to Eisenhower.
Yes.
And then from Eisenhower, it becomes West Wall. So for those of you who don't, it is
Grassy
interesting.
Knoll,
And
for
that
sure,
is confusing.
Valentin.
A good question for people to
Gotta
ask.
be the Grassy
But I noticed
Knoll.
that on Facebook, someone was asking, when did that change? So just so you know, Loop 250 is from, or I should say Business 20 from Loop 250 to Eisenhower. Then Eisenhower in is West Wall Street. So that's where that confusion is.
Yes, and so we try to say both so you know where we are talking about. 4600 block West Wall. If you Google that on Google Maps, it'll show you where we're talking about specifically. And so please keep that in mind as these agencies do appear to be, some of them possibly clearing the scene this morning. And we're continuing to follow this developing situation as it unfolds right in front of us live on camera. We'll hear from some of our crew here in just a moment. Want to get some of them ready to go to let us know what they're hearing, what they're seeing out there. Lauren Munt has been here at this scene. Isabella Garriga has been at the hospital tracking that unfolding situation as well. We also have another update from the city of Midland. Breaking news here from the city of Midland.
Breaking news. Here we go.
The active shooter incident has been resolved. The suspect is confirmed dead.
Wow.
He is deceased.
That's what we
The
figured.
scene remains active. It has not been cleared.
Confirmed
Road closures
suspect dead.
expected to be remain in place for the foreseeable future as the investigation continues. Please avoid the area and monitor City of Midland departments for updates, of course. But again, the shooter is dead.
Confirmed deceased, and the incident has been resolved. That's good news to hear in that area, and we're noticing the more as we look at our image from that actual scene is that more law enforcement vehicles are beginning to pull away. So certainly good news. I anticipate that it'll probably be blocked off closer to where all this took place so they can do more investigation. But again, the big news, that was 1 minute ago, the city of Midland posted that the active shooter incident has been resolved.
Absolutely. Okay. Again, yes, active shooter incident resolved. Suspect confirmed deceased. The scene remains active. We can see that, Jay, like you just said, it is still ongoing right now. But this doesn't change the fact, unfortunately, 9 people, of course, involved in this total.
168?
11 total. 11 total,
168.
9 in the hospital, 4 in surgery, 5 stable. So, again, a lot of people affected by this, lives, of course, touched by this tragedy. But the shooting suspect is dead now this morning, according to the city of Midland.
All right. We, again, have had crews all over. We've had them here on the scene, had them at the hospital. We've been trying to get you all the information we can. And keep in mind, this being an active situation, it's hard to get all of the information, but I think our crews got us what we could. You heard all the video that we received, hearing the shots that were fired. You never want to hear that sound. Sadly, we had to today, and sadly, it affected a lot of people, and this is something we won't forget. And so, tough way on a Friday, but good news that, again, it appears that this is wrapping up. Again, active shooter situation has ended. It's Mayor Lori Blong also posting the same thing, saying the active investigation continues. So you probably will see some road closure.
Trying
so keep
again
that
at
in mind as
168.
you are working in this area. And if you're out driving around, you want to stay out of their way and let them do their job as they continue to investigate exactly what's happened today.
Absolutely. An absolute tragedy that has unfolded across our community again this morning. It's been years, of course. We haven't forgotten the last one. It's still fresh, especially in the summer months. And here we are
rejected again at 168.
We are going to be, of course, praying and keeping those victims in our thoughts, prayers, the entire community. If you have it in your heart to donate, Mayor Lori Blong put it best. Reach out to the United Way to do so.
She said that agency is set up to handle those kind of situations. I know she said a lot of people ask about blood donations. That always comes up, and there will be a need for that, I'm sure, at some point. So she urged that you just wait until that call is needed because you don't want to flood the blood bank and start doing that if it's not needed. And so we will, of course, pass that information along as we get that. But everybody wants to help in situations like this. We understand that. And so we urge you to just check the social media and look for the City of Midland, see those updates, and then follow their instructions.
And we so do appreciate the City of Midland.
Well, there you have it. Shooter dead in Midland. 1 other dead, 11 injured. Is the Tyler Robinson hearing still going on or no?
The goal was to respond to the substantial undue prejudicial effect of the media stories.
What evidence do you have that there was undue prejudice? We haven't picked a jury yet.
The evidence that the reason that we were concerned about those statements is that it was producing we were concerned about the media stories that were saying, first of all, that the bullet in fact did not match, and that therefore we had no case, that we had brought a groundless prosecution. That was our concern.
Which is an issue that can be addressed through jury selection, correct?
That's one way. Yes.
It's an issue that could be addressed through an expanded jury questionnaire, correct? Yes. It's an issue that could be expanded through additional peremptory challenges if the court deems it appropriate, correct?
That's another way.
It's
Yes.
an issue that could be addressed through individualized voir dire, correct?
Yes.
It's an issue that could be addressed under the appropriate circumstances through a change of venue, correct?
Perhaps.
A couple more questions, and then if I have any more time, I'll reserve it.
You have 28 minutes remaining.
Oh, wow.
So.
Ms. Visser scared me. Before you decided to return these phone calls, answer these emails, and accept an invitation to appear on Fox and Friends, did you ask this court to clarify its order in light of the way the media was interpreting the motion to continue?
No.
Did you reach out to anybody in Mr. Robinson's defense team and say, you know, whether you guys did this intentionally or unintentionally, the media has misinterpreted your pleading. Can we do something about that judicially,
No.
as opposed to extrajudicially?
No.
I have no further questions for Mr. Ballard.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Mr. McBride.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
I think I got everything I need.
Hey, Mr. Ballard, I wanted to ask you a little bit of follow-up from what defense asked you. First off, I want to ask you, did you intend to violate the court's order in this case?
No.
Do you believe you violated the court's order in this case?
No.
Did you take actions to avoid violating the court's order in this case?
Yes.
And do some of those actions include being familiar with the order,
Yes.
being familiar with Rule 3.6,
Yes.
limiting your statements to the media to those necessary to address the issues prejudicing your client?
Yes.
Did you include a statement in some of your statements that the defendant was entitled to a presumption of innocence?
Yes.
And a statement that the jury would decide the defendant's guilt as the finder of fact in this case?
Yes.
On March 30th, at about 4:43 our time, did the Daily Mail run a story entitled "Bullet Used to Kill Charlie Kirk Did Not Match the Rifle Allegedly Used by the Suspect Tyler Robinson"?
Yes.
Lynn, so
I'm
this
showing
is
you
a
on the
hearing
screen. Can you see on the
regarding.
screen?
Yes.
Basically,
Exhibit
the
22.
defense wants to put the trial on hold. They're upset about some of the statements coming from
Yes.
the prosecution.
Excuse me.
And
Exhibit
some of the leaks
B.
to the media about the
Okay.
prosecution.
Yes, I see exhibit.
And is this Exhibit B to the filing, the state's opposition to the motion to continue? What was the title of this?
I assume that. Let me see the first page.
State's opposition to the motion for an order.
SpaceX trying to break
show
168
cause
again.
For alleged contempt of court in this case.
Yes.
And is Exhibit B that Daily
Really
Mail
struggling
story
at
that you referred to
168.
just now?
Yes.
Was this the first story that
Gotta break this level to,
reported,
continue on
generated all
today.
the media that has brought us about, or brought us
Oh,
to this
there it
stage
is.
in this case?
That's my understanding.
And after that story was published by the Daily Mail, are you aware of whether other outlets publish similar stories?
Yes.
I'd like to turn
Can it
to
break 170
exhibit
now? It did hit 169.
C in that same pleading.
Okay.
And for the court's record, this is docket 510, exhibit C. And this is a USA Today article, is that right?
Yes.
The title is, Does the Bullet Match? Key Issues Emerges in Charlie Kirk Murder Case, correct?
Correct.
And I now want to turn to exhibit D to this pleading. And this is an article by People, is that correct?
Correct.
Wait, what are you talking about,
published
Jarvis?
on March 31st of 2026.
Yes.
And the title here, will you read that title?
Bullet that killed Charlie Kirk doesn't match Tyler Robinson's rifle, his lawyers claim.
Right, I now want to turn to exhibit E to the pleading. And this is a CBS News article also published March 31st, 2026, correct?
Yes.
And will you read the title there?
Charlie Kirk's accused assassin's lawyers question link between bullet from autopsy and rifle found near scene.
I now want to turn to exhibit A to your pleading, or to the pleading that we've been talking about. First, updated the next day, April 1st. Will you read the headline there?
How one headline shaped the narrative.
And? All right, 169. Struggling to get through 169. There it goes. We get 170. No. What is going on?
We were relying on that there was no grounds for us to be able to rely on that piece of evidence.
Grounds.
The evidence didn't support our case, and because it was a key piece of evidence, that we did not have the evidence to be able to proceed in this case.
And did that make you concerned your client might be your client's
Mr.
right
McBride,
to? Excuse me.
let me stop.
Yeah, I
There
think
may
they
be an
messed up
issue
the
with
audio on their end,
audio
AH.
being transmitted, so I just want to make sure that's remedied, and then we can continue once we confirm it's functioning as it should.
Thank you.
All right, trying again for 170 on SpaceX. It is at the high of day.
All right, do you want to?
Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
What up, Happy Balls underwear? Good day to ya. Oh, did I miss it? Pop to 171 and reject there? I'm having trouble with this trial.
Thank you. Were these reports that we've gone over in the last couple of minutes, these news stories, were they accurately reporting what the evidence was in this case?
No.
And did that cause you concern about whether it would affect your client's right to a fair trial?
Yes, it did, because not only were those...
What? The audio keeps cutting out on this.
in those other articles.
When you received those calls, you testified that you and Mr. Gray had spoken about this. You'd spoken about Rule 3.6 in the court's order. But when you received those calls, you had the option, as
I
you
guess
testified
they're removing
in
Donald
direct
Trump's name
examination,
off the Kennedy Center right now.
of just saying no comment, correct?
And of course, they're live streaming it.
Would a no comment
172 for SpaceX.
How do you believe that that response would be received by the public if the media states, we reached out to the Utah County Attorney's Office when they were asked for comment, they responded, no comment?
Objection calls for speculation, relevance.
Mr. McBride?
The question here is whether or not Mr. Ballard responded as a reasonable attorney would under Rule 3.6C.
Do we see 200
Just
today?
repeat the question. I just want to make sure I'm processing.
Certainly
it
making
properly.
its way up here.
How do you believe the press would, or how do you believe the public would receive a story that had the response from the Utah County
big
Attorney's
rejection.
Office as no comment?
I'm going to sustain the objection because it's asking for him to perceive what the public would perceive, and to that does go to speculation.
I'll attempt to lay more
Almost
foundation. Does the public
300
perception
million shares
matter as
traded on
it relates
SpaceX.
to your client's right to a fair trial?
It can, yes.
And is that is the public's perception ultimately what the public's, and even more particularly the potential jury pool's perception, what matters when we're talking about prejudicing your client's rights?
Yes.
And so, isn't it true that you have to make a judgment about how the public is perceiving the media statements?
Leading.
This is
Well, it's
cross-examination.
cross-examination, so I'm going to overrule that objection.
Yes.
Did you believe a no comment response would cure the prejudicial effect of the media stories?
No.
Did you believe it would actually potentially increase the prejudicial effect of these stories?
Yes, especially given the kinds of stories that were circulating there, like
What up, Daniel?
That our case has a fundamental problem, that this is a bombshell, and for us to
Rebel Yankee, this court
say no
case,
comment,
this is the Tyler
and to not
Robinson,
give a response
Charlie
would
Kirk murder trial. It's a
feed
pre-hearing.
my
The
concern was
defense
that would
is
feed this idea
angry about
that the state really does
some of the
not have
statements that the
sufficient
prosecution
evidence to
has either made to the media
Thank
or
you.
leaked to the media. So they're asking to put the trial on pause because of this.
You mentioned before responding to these requests, you spoke with Mr. Gray about the requests and about the media that was out there at the time. Why did you speak with Mr. Gray about that?
SpaceX
Because
making
we
its way back
recognized
up
that
to
this
the
was a
high.
significant issue and that we needed to figure
Massive
out how we were
sell
going to
orders came
respond
in
to
right
that.
here.
And was part of that to determine whether you could ethically respond?
Yes. I think that the conversation was, should we and can we and should we?
Daniel, I don't know about all
I'll
that.
refer you to the court's order, the pretrial publicity order. And that's published on the screen in front of you. Do you see that?
Yes.
Will you read the last sentence of that order? This is the order dated September 16th, 2025.
It says this order does not prohibit lawyers from making statements permitted by Rule 3.6 C, Utah Rule of Professional Conduct 3.6 sub B sub C.
Based on the language of this order, did you believe that it prohibited you from making public statements?
No.
Did you believe it prohibited you from making public statements that were allowed by 3.6B?
No, it allowed me to do that.
And same question with regard to 3.6C. Did it prohibit you from making statements under 3.6C?
Objection, he's asking the witness for a legal conclusion.
Did you want to respond, Mr. McBride?
No. I disagree with that objection.
All right,
but I
SpaceX
think
back
the
to
court
its
can rule on that
day
without
high.
response.
Broke through it.
Well, I'm going
173.
to overrule the objection because that was fodder for the direct examination. It was addressed.
Break 173,
He
yes,
was
it
asked
can.
about that, and so this is cross-examination, and that door has been opened.
174 coming up.
Okay, let's look at 3.6, Rule 3.6. And that's up on the screen in front of you. I want to go through those particular statements or particular subsections referred to by the order
Definitely wild.
3.6b and c. There's a couple of highlights here on the screen in front of you. Is that up on the screen in front of you?
Yes, I see those.
If you look at 3.6b, will you read those two highlighted portions? That's B, basically B and B2.
Yes. It says, notwithstanding paragraph A lawyer may state information contained in a public record.
Okay. Now, before going to 3.6c, let me ask you, on direct examination, defense counsel had a line of questioning about whether you can talk about anything that's in the public record extrajudicially to the media. You began to answer that question, but you weren't given the chance to finish your answer. Under 3.6b, will you talk about your understanding of what you can talk about that is in the public record?
My understanding of that, the language of the rule is that if there is court filing, that the
Removing Donald Trump's
that I can
name from the
comment on
Kennedy
that,
Center.
extrajudicially.
In this circumstance, was the statement that generated this in defense counsel's pleading, that the ATF was unable to tie the bullet to the gun, was that in a public pleading?
Yes.
And the report that they made that statement from, the ATF ballistics report is what I will call it, was that in a public pleading?
It was. The defense attached that report to their motion to prohibit testing, and the court had ordered that to be made public.
And that report was attached to a pleading in docket number 284. Is that your understanding?
I don't know the exact docket number, but
Yeah, huge victory for the
I think it
libs,
was
guys.
The January 9th motion.
Okay. And for reference, the court's order making that docket number public is docket 460, March 12, 2020.
They finally got Donald Trump.
I want to go to the next.
Taking his name off of the side of the building is basically the same thing as sending him to prison.
Notwithstanding that this report was public by this time, the ATF ballistics report, did you specifically comment about the ATF ballistic report and its findings in your statements to the media?
No. In fact, if you look at Exhibit 4, the highlighted portion there, I say, when I'm responding to the USA Today reporter, I say, the ethical rules prohibit, well, it says, ethical rules prohibit him from speaking publicly about forensic testing and results. And then I go on to say, but I can say generally that when you have an inconclusive result, these are the types of circumstances that might produce an inconclusive result.
Okay. Let's move to subparagraph C, 3.6C, which is up on the screen. Will you read the highlighted portion of subparagraph C?
Yeah, actually, it's not up.
It's going to take a few seconds for it to render itself on the screen. Not just yet.
I could read it from the exhibit.
Let's go ahead and do that, if you don't mind. So the first full sentence of subparagraph C.
400
Exhibit
current
10.
and former SpaceX
It
employees
says, notwithstanding
are now
paragraph
worth
A,
over
a lawyer may make a
$100
statement
million
that a
because
reasonable
of the
lawyer
IPO.
would believe is required to protect a client from the substantial, undue prejudicial effect of recent publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the lawyer's client.
H, where do you want me to move the Kennedy
No,
Center
that's,
stream?
that's fine. So as you read that, is there anything, do you see any language in subparagraph C that requires that any other public, undue prejudicial, substantial undue prejudicial effect of recent publicity must be generated by a defense counsel or opposing counsel?
No.
Okay, I now want to turn to your particular responses. So after you met with all these responses, or all these media inquiries were coming in, you meet with Mr. Gray and talk about whether you should and could respond. The answer is yes, we're going to respond, we should respond. Then you actually make the responses, correct?
Sure.
Correct.
I'm going to turn back to the pleading that we'd referred to, where we had attached many of the news stories.
All right, SpaceX back close to its day high.
We have here
Actually, it's at its day high.
Let's see if this is the right one. Exhibit F. And this is, I think this also appears in defense counsel's binder.
Is it the USA Today story?
This is the New York Post story.
Can it break 175?
I'm going to ask you to read the first two paragraphs here on this page.
At this pace, it's going to take them all day
46 here
to take down Donald Trump's name.
Will you read the first paragraph on page 46 of the pleading, Utah County Attorney's Office?
Yeah.
You would think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Utah
6,
County
7,
Attorney's
8,
Office
9, 10, 11, 12,
Prosecutor
13,
Ballard said he
14
can't
guys could
comment
build some
on
scaffolding a little faster than
forensic
that.
testing and results. But, he said, quote, when the results of a bullet fragment analysis come back as inconclusive, that means only that the fragment did not contain enough detail
Right, can we
for
break
the examiner to
175?
determine whether the characteristics on the fragment were consistent with having been fired by a particular firearm, end quote.
And is that
Yeah,
consistent
DC
with how you
Union,
attempted to respond to all the media outlets that made inquiries?
All right,
Yes.
175.
And is that in fact your statement?
Yes, I can't say
Struggling
that
at
it's exactly word for
175.
word, but that accurately captures what I was trying to convey to the reporter.
Large sell orders at 175. Getting bought up,
I
though.
want to go to Exhibit G to the pleading. This is a PolitiFact article entitled, Does a Bullet Analysis Clear Charlie Kirk Suspected Killer What an Inconclusive Result Means? I'd ask you to read that first
There it is.
full
Rejected it.
paragraph.
Oh, no, not rejected.
First full paragraph starting with
Busted through
when.
175.
please?
Back below. Yeah,
When
it
the
was
results of a
rejected,
bullet
okay.
fragment analysis come back as
Wow.
in,
Yep,
quote,
starting to trade
inconclusive,
kinda wildly
unquote,
right now.
that does not mean that the rifle did not fire the bullet. Christopher Ballard, a spokesman for the Utah County Attorney's Office and part of the prosecution team, wrote in an email to PolitiFact.
Thank you. Again, is that accurate? to your
Yes.
memory? Same answer. You can't say word for word, but in essence, it's accurate.
Right.
I want to jump to the TMZ article. And is this TMZ article here, this Exhibit I to the pleading, an article that quotes you?
Yes.
Let's go to page 58. And we talked about this quote previously. Defense counsel asked you about this. And the statement beginning with Attorney Christopher Ballard tells us, that paragraph, is that the same? Is that quote starts with generally and ends with trial? Do you know if that is, if that quote is exactly how you said it to them?
The quote, again, comes from, I'm answering two different questions from the reporter. First, the reporter asked me about these claims that the bullet didn't match. And
how long are they going to? They just keep going back and forth over the same exact thing.
So do you still have a case? Basically, do you have enough evidence to proceed? And so I was first addressing the specific question about
how high are we going today? We're at 176.
The claim that the bullet didn't match, and then second, I was responding to this idea that because of
the demand is impressive for
testing,
this,
we couldn't proceed with this case.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to the next page, 59. And I'd like to ask you to read the first two paragraphs here on page 59.
It says, as we reported, Tyler's defense team argued there's a discrepancy between the ballistic evidence and the weapon prosecutors say is connected to Robinson. In a filed motion, they wrote, quote, the defense may very well decide to offer the testimony of the ATF firearm analyst as exculpatory evidence, unquote.
And then will you read that next line as well?
Yes. It says, but Ballard says this isn't expected to derail their case against Robinson.
Thank you. Now I want to go to page 60 of the same article, the TMZ article, and ask you to read these two paragraphs as well.
It says, he told us, quote, can't speak about specific evidence, but the evidence that we detailed in the charging document is a general summary of the evidence that shows Tyler Robinson committed this crime, unquote, end quote. And it says, Ballard added, quote, he is presumed innocent. The ultimate decision will be up to the jury. We believe we will be able to overcome his presumption of innocence, end quote.
Thank you. Now, defense counsel in one of their motions, they quoted the Standard, which is a Hong Kong agency, and did you look at that quotation to the Hong Kong or to the Standard?
Yes, when I saw that in the defense pleading.
Okay, and I've got that up on the page on the monitor in front of you. It's page 8 of defense counsel's motion for the order to show cause, and this there's the double indent here. Do you see that?
Yes.
Did you talk to the Standard?
No, they did not contact me.
And it looks like they included some of your statements, but not all of them. Is that accurate?
It looks like they're referring to the TMZ article, and yes, they took some of the quotes, but not all of them.
Okay, thank you. If I can have just a moment. Okay, I wanted to refer you to Exhibit 4 in Defense Counsel's binder.
Okay.
Let's see, in that purple highlighted portion on the last page, the second to last paragraph, this was discussed a little bit earlier, but I wanted to make sure that this was clear. Will you tell us what you were referring to in this second to last paragraph? It reads, Ballard confirmed the FBI and ATF are adding information to the initial reports. The prosecutor expected will include data supporting the initial conclusions. Will you explain what that's referring to?
Yeah, my recollection is that the defense, is part of their motion to continue the preliminary hearing, as part of the justification for that motion, they had argued that they hadn't received all of the underlying data that supported the conclusions in the initial reports. And so the reporter was asking me about whether, had that data already been produced or whether it would be forthcoming. And I was confirming that the FBI was gathering that and would be providing that, the information that the defense requested.
Did you personally appear on Fox and Friends?
No, I did a Zoom interview that they used as part of that program.
And the video we watched earlier, is that the entirety of this portion of your interview that they used on that program?
Yes.
So you didn't go to New York and sit down with them?
Nope.
Did you actually ever leave the office and go on a media speaking tour?
No, all I did was respond as the media inquiries came in.
Okay. Thank you. I have nothing else.
Thank you. Mr. Novak, redirect.
Yes, sir. Mr. Ballard, isn't it correct that there was a point in time with respect to the pleadings in this case that the defense's motion to prohibit the additional testing without some safeguards to document it, record it, monitor it, was a private filing?
Yes, the defense filed it as a private filing.
And you initially agreed, meaning you on behalf of your office, that it should be a private filing because it dealt directly with forensic examinations.
No, we opposed the motion to keep that filing private.
But as you said in Exhibits 6 and second, Your Honor. Make sure I'm citing the correct exhibit. In Exhibit 6, that you initially hoped that the dispute over the testing could be resolved between the parties, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then we filed, meaning Mr. Robinson filed, a motion to get some control over that FBI testing because the FBI had basically said, we won't let a defense ballistic expert watch and we won't videotape it, right?
I wasn't privy to what the defense was saying, or the FBI lab was saying.
But you're aware of the dispute.
There was a dispute, yes.
The FBI wanted to do further testing on bullet fragments, and we were concerned that it would have a destructive effect on the evidence. And so we asked to have a ballistics expert observe the FBI testing, correct?
I know that you filed a motion.
We asked your office to arrange with the FBI for an outside expert to observe. Aren't you aware of that?
I know that you were requesting certain procedures.
Right, was to either be present or videotape it. Or maybe you don't know what the procedures were.
That sounds correct to me. I wasn't part of those negotiations.
Okay.
That
And
discussion.
when the FBI didn't agree to let there be light on whatever they were going to be doing, as opposed to darkness, we filed a motion for judicial intervention, right?
Yes, you filed a motion.
And we filed it privately.
Yes.
And we argued to this court that it should be private because it addressed forensic testing not yet received into evidence and future forensic testing not yet received into evidence. And the state opposed that.
Objection, counsel's testifying.
Didn't we file that?
Oh, counsel, there's an
I
objection.
did it again.
Would
Sorry.
you like to respond?
I can rephrase it in the form of a question.
All right, I'll go ahead and sustain the objection and maybe rephrased.
Are you familiar with the reasons why we thought the forensic testing documents and the dispute should be filed and litigated privately?
I think I generally understand why you wanted that private.
And the state decided it should be public.
We decided to oppose that motion.
It was your position that it should be public.
Yes.
And then the court overruled or denied the motion to keep it private, correct?
Yes.
And so that then became a matter of public record which you believe you could make extrajudicial statements about.
I believe the rule allowed that, yes.
Now, your testimony is that you only intended to communicate to the media generally how bullet fragment analysis works, correct?
Yes, I was responding to those inquiries and being careful to stay within the confines of Rule 3.6.
But the media inquiries were not generally how is bullet fragment analysis conducted and what are the findings and what are the conclusions. The questions were about the bullet fragment analysis in this case, correct?
Yes.
Would you agree with this following statement? In the first few weeks of this case, there were many media stories emphasizing evidence of Mr. Robinson's guilt.
Yes.
So your interpretation of Rule 3.6, because of that, is that I could go on Fox and Friends or send emails to media entities or have telephonic interviews where I say on multiple occasions, it's my opinion that my client is innocent.
Objection, relevance.
Do you wish to respond?
Mr. Ballard has testified that he doesn't think that his his extrajudicial statements violate the rule. And he specifically referred to comment 4, which says any opinion as to the guilt or innocence of a defendant or suspect in a criminal case is not prohibited because of what he says is prejudicial pretrial publicity. And so I'm asking the obverse, which is whether he agrees that that means that I or somebody I hire could go on a speaking tour. I'm not saying you went on a speaking tour, but and proclaim my opinion that Mr. Robinson is innocent without violating this court's order or without violating the rules of professional responsibility.
All right. I understand the objection and the response. I'm going to overrule the objection as it's within the nexus of what's being addressed in this hearing and what's been brought up in both direct and cross-examination.
What I understand the rule to allow is for a lawyer to make statements that the lawyer believes are necessary to protect their client from substantial undue prejudice of media stories.
So if I think in good faith that my client has been, that there is already proof of undue prejudice against Mr. Robinson because of all of the media stories, without seeking any judicial intervention, without seeking an ethics opinion from the state bar, I can schedule media interviews, I can issue press releases saying it's my opinion that he's innocent.
I think your interpretation of Rule 3.6 is up to you.
I'm asking you if you agree with that hypothetical.
Repeat the hypothetical.
Without any findings by anybody at this point of undue prejudice, and based on the media coverage to date, which we are all familiar with, do you agree, well, is it your opinion that the rule permits me to go on Fox and Friends, or have telephone calls, or send emails, issue a press release that says it's my opinion that Mr. Robinson is innocent, and that if I did that, I would not be in violation of this court's order or the ethical rules that we've been discussing?
I don't see anything in the rule that requires previous findings about prejudice.
It's just your conclusion that there is prejudice. That's enough?
I believe that what's required is what the rule says.
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate the court's time.
Thank you. Anything further for this witness?
No.
Mr. Ballard, you may step down. Thank you. All right, to defense, it looks like you have about 20 minutes left. I didn't include the cross-examination against your time. We'll go to the state's time, but how would you like to proceed next?
I have a few questions for Mr. Gray, since he was mentioned in the testimony from Mr. Ballard, and the OSC was returned against Mr. Gray as well.
Would you prefer to take a 10-minute break, or do you want to keep going? I'll defer to you.
I think a 10-minute break would be great.
All right.
Thank you.
Court will be in recess for 10 minutes. We'll come back at approximately 11:35.
Rise.
They've barely made any progress building the scaffolding to take the Donald J. Trump name off of the Kennedy Center. This trial could be over before they get Donald J. Trump's name off of the Kennedy Center. I'm actually kind of impressed with how well SpaceX is holding up here. Let's see here. 340 million shares traded. Current market cap of $2.25 trillion. That's true, Jay. That's true. I swear they've added like 3 pieces in the hour we've been watching this, though. They're about to add a 4th, though. Right there. There we go. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guys in view of the camera. Oh, we deported all the fast ones? That may be. That may be true. Dirge, paid by the hour right there. AH, yep, union labor. Yep. I bet every single piece they add has to be approved by OSHA or some shit. Wonder how much this is costing the federal taxpayers. Let's check in on the federal debt. Literally, that's us paying for this right now. Whee! Almost 40 trillion. That's like 20 SpaceX's, guys. Oh, that's true, Jay. Yeah, we're the I guess they wouldn't be protesters because they would be for this, but yeah, they should be there celebrating. Oh, is she about to speak? Who's this?
A little baby fan. See if that helps a little bit.
Thank you.
Got it. Got it. Cool. IFB should be hooked up.
So, am I live on social right now? Yeah?
Yeah, you are live on.
Yeah, back below 170. Yes, you are live. Please fix your hair slower.
Okay. You want me? I am. Do you want me back on the box?
Yes. She's got to stand on the box.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Taylor. Just go over here and just anchor yourself on this.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I can throw it down a little bit.
Woo!
We're adjusting the shot.
Back on the box, lady.
One, two, three, four, five, six. You're welcome.
What the hell? Where'd she go? They just reset this to now? They're actually making some progress here. They're up there. Looks like all the dips are getting bought into here on SpaceX. They said 10-minute break on the trial, right? She's going to spend 30 minutes getting ready for like a 30-second report. Yep. Comb your hair. Get the sweat off your face. Go redo your makeup. Zerbs, think of the dips every time another starship explodes. Easy money. It's true. Ah. Well, I'm glad she got up and did all of that. Thanks, reporter. It was very useful. It's a good use of our time. Hey, that's a lot of skull, Jay. That'll last you quite a while during the coming apocalypse. Oh, are we gonna get a report now? It's just gonna be like,
right now?
Yeah, they're taking the letters off the building.
Oh,
We
wait,
already know that.
Video this. We should take a video of this. Guys.
So, okay, so they finally finished the scaffolding. And then they all left. Break time! Break time!
Well, that's not going to make for
Worse than court.
I got video of it.
Thank you. Just in case that it's more than that, you know?
Yeah. They quit.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's good.
Monkey, they definitely could have just used a bucket truck. Right? Be a lot easier. Because, like, even with this scaffolding, how are they going to get the off? It's not going to be that easy. The dough. They're going to have to leave the dough up there. The do and the John F. Kennedy Memorial Center. That's true, Jarvis.
Okay, so we can go inside?
Yeah. Because they were like, stand by until they start pulling the letters off. And I was like, they're not.
It's not, yeah, they're taking a break. They're taking a break.
They're literally taking a break.
It's just, it sucks when they do that because it's like...
How long ago was this 10-minute break on the trial stream, by the way?
For 30 minutes? It's like, no.
It was 14 minutes ago. They took a 10-minute break in the trial.
I got it.
Par for the course.
Here we go.
That.
I think I got it.
Ugh. Neo Dark, we've been watching the scaffolding crew. The sign crew will be there later. By later, tomorrow. Or next week. Tomorrow's a weekend. Can't be doing all that.
Girl? How you doing? Fabulous.
I was just telling my friends, I was like, I'm a dermatologist clearly. And they're like, hey, the letters are coming down. I'm like, right. I started getting like some big compliments. They're like, we're going to be at the sun right away. And I'm like, oh, very good. Yeah, I'm like, also, well, I'm just going to get like students and all that stuff.
Check in on our cast company. Huh. Let me short it now. Still no. Still no.
Yeah. Like, set it up. Not that way, idiot. Like, set up the behind. Yeah. We don't want to see either arms. Figure it out.
Hope you recovered all right. Yeah, I'm sorry you had to go down there so quick.
I know, I was thinking about Carolina. Because I was trying to say, I was going down to they give me 37 minutes.
They just, I mean,
$355 million shares traded. That's like over $50 billion traded on SpaceX just in the last couple hours. Insanity. Absolute insanity. This is the definition of literally nothing ever happens.
That guy in the camera, he was straight.
invite Mr. Gray to
Mr. Gray, if you wouldn't mind coming forward and being sworn in. Mr. Gray, as you get situated, water to your left, and after you're seated, if you wouldn't mind pulling the microphone to you, so the record can set your testimony.
Mr. Gray, you're the elected county attorney for Utah County, correct? And so you are responsible for essentially everything that happens in and through the office, correct? And is Mr. Ballard still your chief of staff? Does that mean he reports to you in the sense of an organizational structure? And he's also the public affairs officer for your office. And he's also an attorney. So, public information officer. And he's also a prosecutor. And he's one of the prosecutors in this case. Mr. Ballard testified that you and he had some general conversations about media inquiries concerning the contents of Mr. Robinson's motion to continue the preliminary hearing. Is that correct, that you had some general conversations?
Yes.
Did you ever suggest to Mr. Ballard that one approach to these inquiries would be to confer with Mr. Robinson's defense counsel concerning the media's misinterpretation of what we had filed?
No, because the rules don't require it.
Okay. Did you discuss with Mr. Ballard whether the state should approach the court concerning what, if anything, the court would permit the state to do in light of your concerns?
Again, no, because the rules don't require it.
Do the rules prohibit it?
They do not prohibit it, but neither did his order require it, the judge's order in this case.
Nor did the rules prohibit you
No.
from,
No.
sorry. Nor did the rules prohibit you from reaching out to defense counsel and say, hey, you know, the media is spinning this in a certain way. We need to discuss correcting the record.
No.
Or clarifying media misinterpretations.
No.
All right. What about having a conversation with Mr. Ballard that went like this? Why don't we draft a statement, a single statement that we can send out to media entities and just be done with it?
I don't know that we had that conversation. I might have thought about that, but then you're getting even wider dissemination. I was unaware of how many inquiries there were. That actually might have the effect of going beyond who was inquiring.
But would you agree with me that one approach could have been to issue a statement which says the state stands by the allegations in the information and the significance of any evidence will be established in court proceedings?
I don't think that that would be sufficient.
It wouldn't have been sufficient to change the media spins. Is that what you mean?
Yes, I mean, what we're concerned about is prejudice to a prospective jury. And so that could be very damaging to our ability to do that. And so we wanted to ameliorate that prejudice.
And so is it the number of media stories and the content of the media stories which led you to conclude that the state was being prejudiced?
There was a potential to prejudice a fair trial, yes,
Based on the,
based on misinformation,
in the media?
yes.
But if it were accurate information, that would be okay with you?
I would not be correcting anything if it was accurate information.
Did you consult the, so we have the binding rule of professional responsibility here in Utah. Did you consult the ABA rules on this same issue?
No,
Are you familiar with them?
yes,
Are you familiar with the ABA rule that basically says extrajudicial statements by one party are only permissible where there have been extrajudicial statements by another party?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance. What we're dealing with here is whether or not Mr. Gray, Mr. Ballard violated the court's order. It does not refer to the ABA rule.
I think it just goes to the state of mind of both of the individuals against whom the court has already returned to the order to show cause.
Well, help me understand the relevance as it relates to.
Well, we have an ABA rule, which we cited in our reply brief, called Fair Trial in Public Discourse, cited at pages 4 and 5 of 6 pages in our reply brief at footnote 1, which points out that the ABA guidelines limit extrajudicial statements to those circumstances where an opposing party has already made extrajudicial statements. Whereas here, what the state is saying is that it can basically correct the record or make any public statements it wants as long as there's something in the public record, regardless of where it came from.
Why my concern as it relates to relevancy is whether that's binding and whether that's even applicable. I mean, there may be like a best practices, and I'm not saying it is or it is not, but as it relates to the issue before me, I don't see how that's relevant to help me with my finding in regards to the ABA.
Okay, so I think that so far Mr. Gray has said he's aware of it, and I think that's fine.
All right, thank you. So I'll sustain the objection. We'll move on.
Is that correct, Mr. Gray? You're aware of that standard?
I am aware of the ABA standard.
All right. Now I'm just going to ask you the same question I asked Mr. Ballard toward the end. Would you agree with me that in the first few weeks, especially, and continuing throughout this case, there has been substantial media coverage commenting upon Mr. Robinson's guilt?
Both guilt and innocence, yes.
Including, okay. And would you agree with me that he is entitled constitutionally to a presumption of innocence?
Absolutely.
Until the matter is submitted to the jury for deliberation?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so, do you agree with Mr. Ballard that in light of all of what Mr. Robinson's defense counsel view as prejudicial media coverage, prejudicing his right to a fair trial, that I can make public statements as to my opinion about his innocence without violating this court's order?
No, you cannot make an opinion about innocence or guilt, but I don't think that's what happened here.
Would you agree that the point of Mr. Ballard being interviewed over the telephone and sending emails and then appearing visually on Fox and Friends was to address media inquiries concerning specific forensic evidence in this case?
It was to ameliorate the prejudice resulting from misinformation from the media.
About a specific piece of evidence in this case?
Yes.
And you think that by crafting, that Mr. Ballard's efforts to control the conversation with the media by, as he testifies, just talking about forensic testing generally avoids the prohibitions in the rule?
Whether I believe that avoids the general prohibitions,
Yeah.
I think that's one way to do it.
I know that you did not seek any guidance from the court on this issue. Did you consider filing some sort of a motion or a request asking for clarification on how the court's pretrial publicity order governs this situation?
No, I thought the court's order was quite clear.
Because there was another point in time where the state did seek clarification of the court's order, right?
Yes.
And the court clarified it.
Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Mr. McBride.
Mr. Gray, do you believe that the presumption of innocence means that an attorney can never respond to prejudicial media?
No.
Did you intend to violate the court's order in this case?
No.
Do you believe you violated the court's order in this case?
No.
Did you take actions to avoid violating the court's order in this case?
Yes.
such as you are familiar with the court's order.
I'm familiar with it, yes.
You are familiar with Rule 3.6, correct?
Yes.
And you expected Mr. Ballard to limit the statements to the media to those necessary to address the issues prejudicing your client.
Yes.
Now, you've been present for the testimony about the, what I'll call kind of a media frenzy about this claim that the bullet didn't match the gun.
Yes.
Right? As that media came out, did you meet with Mr. Ballard and discuss what to do about it?
Yes. My recollection is a little bit different from Mr. Ballard's recollection of it. What I recall is he came to me, told me that he was getting several media requests for that, and whether or not we should or could respond to those inquiries. So I spoke with him about it. I know I spoke with Chad. We discussed Rule 3.6, specifically subsection C, that indicates that we can, where we believe that there's a substantial likelihood of material prejudice. And so I ultimately told Mr. Ballard that yes, he could respond to inquiries regarding that. And specifically our concerns. The media had reported, based on the motion to stay the preliminary hearing, it indicated only that it didn't indicate on the bullet, the defendant's motion, and didn't say anything about the actual report that said it didn't indicate or exclude that it came from Tyler Robinson's rifle and was therefore inconclusive. So based on our reading of that, we could correct that. This wasn't a matter of, deciding whether it's exculpatory or inculpatory. This was a matter of correcting what that ATF report actually said.
And particularly to your client's right of a fair trial, right?
That's right.
Okay. You said you're aware of the rule, you're aware of the court's order. Were you aware of any cases dealing with media and attorneys correcting misrepresentations by the media?
I was.
For example, do you have?
The Corey Richards case, actually, where lead counsel in this case was also lead counsel in the Corey Richards case. I was aware of their interview that they conducted before trial to correct what they perceived as misinformation.
Okay, so let me get that clear. Lead counsel in this case, Kathy Nestor, is that right?
Yes.
She went to the media in the Corey Richards case, is that right?
Yes.
And with the purpose of correcting what she perceived to be misinformation in that case?
Yes, from the media.
And did she make any comment about prosecution's duty to correct misinformation in that interview?
There were the entire team there, or at least 3 members of that team in that report.
Of the defense team?
Of the defense
Okay.
team. And between her and her other co-counsel, they indicated that they had hoped, I believe Ms. Nestor actually stated that she had hoped that the prosecutor would come forward to correct that misinformation, but because they didn't, they came forward.
And were you aware of that case and that interview on March 31st of this year?
Yes, I was.
When did you become aware of that interview by Ms. Nestor?
Back in October of 2025.
Okay. Have there been other Have there been other circumstances in this case where you have declined and your office has declined to speak with the media?
Yes.
And if you declined in other circumstances, why did you not decline in this circumstance?
Because it was media reports where they were saying that they were misrepresenting the actual report that's in the record. and, you know, that it did not match. That's not what the report said. Again, I'm not getting into whether it's exculpatory or inculpatory. What the report said was that the testing did not identify or exclude the bullet fragment as coming from the rifle, and therefore was inconclusive. And so we got those reports. In those other circumstances, we had persons concerned about what they perceived as misinformation. And my conclusion was, we're not going to go out there and talk about those things because, quite frankly, you know, I didn't know whether or not how the defense would use that information. And so I decided, no, we're not going to comment on that kind of stuff.
Okay, so there have been other circumstances where you said, nope, we're not going to talk to the media about X, Y, and Z.
That's right.
But in this case, you made an analysis and said, yes, we're going to talk to the media in this case because of how important the issue is.
Yes.
Nothing else.
All right. Mr. Novak.
Mr. Gray, I don't know anything about the Corey Richards case, so let me just ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
You had watched some sort of a media interview that you say that Ms. Richards' counsel conducted before trial.
Yes.
And did you think that was appropriate under the rules?
I think they went beyond what they could do, but I think it is appropriate under Rule 3.6 under the right circumstances like this case.
So it really depends what it is you say that puts you close to the line or over the line set by Rule 3.6 in the court.
Sure. I mean, you have to be careful in what you say. I mean, we do our very best to be careful.
And was your office prosecuting that case?
No.
Okay. Did the county attorney file anything with the court concerning those public statements, to your knowledge?
I'm not aware of that. I talked with her. She was the one that advised me of that, and that's why I became aware of it. But I don't know whether or not they decided to or not. There are many reasons why you may or may not file something. I know that she wasn't happy with it.
When you say she, you're referring to the county attorney?
Margaret Olson from Summit County.
I see. And you don't know if Summit County sought any judicial review of those extrajudicial statements?
I do not know.
Understood. Thank you, Your Honor. I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. Anything further for this witness?
No.
Mr. Gray, thank you. All right. Mr. Novak.
No further witnesses. Thank you.
All right. To the state.
No witnesses, Your Honor.
All right. We can proceed to, I'll defer to the parties. Mr. Novak, you have about 8 minutes for argument. The state has a little bit more than that. So as the parties wish to proceed.
I'm prepared to do it now if the court wants to continue. Whatever works.
Yes, my intent is we'll do that. Then that will conclude this particular, as it relates to the OSC, and then we'll turn to the motion in limine as it relates to hearsay, giving the parties time to argue that, as the court has reviewed in detail the motions, which were detailed, and the court appreciates that. So we'll have a brief oral argument on that, and then we'll go to the last issue that Mr. Novak brought up and address that as well. All right, turning to Mr. Novak.
Thank you, Your Honor. And I want to be careful to be clear, at least from our perspective, that there are two issues here. One is whether the evidence supports a finding a violation of the court order by Mr. Ballard and or Mr. Gray. And then the question, if the court does make that finding, is what are the consequences? So I'm going to really deal with the first part first and the second part second, unless the court wants to bifurcate it and issue its findings on whether or not there's been a violation, in which case, if the court finds that there has been a violation of the court order, then we can address the remedies.
We can address that today. Thank you. In regards to your argument and what you are advocating for.
All right, so the court would like to hear all of it at once. That's what I'm hearing. Okay. So first of all, the court's order concluding that there was a preliminary finding, that we had made a preliminary showing, identifies 3 elements to the contempt. And Mr. Ballard essentially admitted to the first 2 elements. He was aware of the orders, and there was no reason why he was unable to comply with them. So the third element is whether the order was violated. Now, I acknowledge that the court's order uses the word intentional, but I would ask the court to look again at our pleadings concerning whether intentionality is an element of the offense. And the reason why that's important is because many courts, as I cited in the brief, so I'm not going to cite all those cases again, say that where the order is in the nature of an injunction, the court doesn't need to make a finding of intent. Every order is different. This is an order enjoining conduct. And so if somebody violates, knows of, and has the ability to comply with an order enjoining conduct, and the order is violated, there is no need to show intent. However, what I will argue to the court is whether or not the court is going to add that element of intentionality. I think the evidence is clear that the violation was intentional, or it was so reckless, and I will use the legal phrase extreme recklessness, that there's a very fair inference of intentionality. And I don't say this lightly, and this is one of those situations where lawyers and judicial officers sometimes cringe, but sometimes the cover-up is worse than the original conduct. I know we've all heard that before, and we all know what that means. But I find no credibility in Mr. Ballard's sworn testimony that he only intended to communicate with the media generally about bullet fragment analysis. He used phrases like "this bullet." He's responding to misconceptions in the media about what the defense said in its filing. He's talking about the bullet fragment analysis in this case. And I have trouble accepting Mr. Ballard's explanation that he really never said anything about the bullet fragment analysis in this case. Especially, I mean, the most clear example, frankly, is his statement in Exhibit 7, which is his statement on Fox and Friends. Because he talks about this bullet, the bullet. He's not talking in general terms. He's not talking in generic terms. He's not a ballistics expert, although in some of these exhibits you see that the journalists interviewed ballistics experts. Mr. Ballard is trying to influence public perception about examinations in this case. And I think to say, oh, I'm not talking about this case, I'm only talking about ballistics generally, is belied by the context in which the statements were made, the motive that Mr. Ballard and Mr. Gray admit they had in engaging in extrajudicial statements, and the content of those statements. Mr. Ballard also acknowledges that he made statements about future examinations and his expectations about what future FBI and ATF reports would say in this case. So even if Mr. Ballard has this, what he thinks is a safe harbor, oh, I was just talking about bullet fragment analysis generally, he is then saying, oh, and we'll have some more reports in this case soon that will clarify this. So he's actually talking about what he believes forensic experts will do and say in the future, which I think not only violates the rule in and of itself, but shows the overall problem with his excuse. The reason why we asked Mr. Ballard and Mr. Gray if you can turn this around and say, since there's been all of this negative media coverage, can I go on a public relations tour and state, in my opinion, Mr. Robinson is innocent extrajudicially, beyond the fact that he has a constitutional right to the presumption of innocence, which the prosecution has an obligation to embrace and uphold, is because if I can do that in response to media coverage, then this court's order and the rule are completely swallowed up. In other words, in a case where there is media coverage, which is not the result of interviews by the defense, I can go do those things, then this court's order has very, very little meaning. And Rule 3.6 has very little meaning. And that just can't be the way it works. So, at a minimum, their conduct was extremely reckless. And that, in the law, is the same as intent. But again, I don't believe that that's what this court has to make a finding in order to confirm the court's initial preliminary finding of a violation of this court's rules. It's interesting, Your Honor, that the state's attorneys have already decided that the recent media coverage about the bullet fragment analysis has prejudiced their case, because they've been saying in this courtroom and in pleadings that we can't prove that any of the media coverage in this case has prejudiced Mr. Robinson. They've been saying, pick a better jury, have a better questionnaire, maybe there's a venue issue, more peremptory challenges, individualized voir dire, and this court has said the same thing. But when it suits them, they say they've already determined that their case is prejudiced. And so they need to correct the perception in the jury pool so that they can have a right to a fair trial. And it's offensive to me, but it's deeply ironic that when it suits the state, we can't prove prejudice, and when it suits the state, they've already concluded that there's prejudice, without even taking a moment to say to this court, we're very concerned about this. We weren't concerned before about all of the negative media coverage about Mr. Robinson and his life, But now we're concerned about the media coverage concerning this piece. And so, Judge, what are we going to do about this? I am confident that if the court received an inquiry from counsel that said, there's an urgent matter here, we'd really like to have a conversation with the court about what is acceptable under this court's order, this court would have convened a hearing. This court convened, as I recall, a conference call on like 6 hours notice back in September when the court wanted to manage this case quickly because things were happening. And the court's staff got everybody on the phone, and the court made some decisions, and then those decisions were docketed. There is nothing that stopped the state from asking this court to either clarify its order or approve some press release, even if it was over the defense's objection, that would be consistent with Rule Point 6 and the court's orders and Rule 3.8. So now in my remaining time, I'm going to go to the remedies. I think that the number one remedy in this case, Your Honor, is for this court to preclude the state from seeking the death penalty against Mr. Robinson. The court said at an earlier time that if the court found there were violations of its orders, that it could order somebody to do continuing education, it could impose fines, it could do all kinds of things under the civil remedies. That is true. But what we are talking about is the state, without any guidance from this court, going out and trying to influence the public perception of this case so that when people come into this courtroom, and they may be jurors in this case, they have been exposed to the state's extrajudicial statements about what the evidence will or will not show before the first witness is ever sworn to testify in the trial, before any exhibits are ever received into evidence. And as Mr. Ballard said, the media spin will never change. The media will do whatever the media wants to do, and I'm going to return to that as well. What was going on here was an attempt to influence the jury pool, because that's the only thing that cures the prejudice, is correcting what the state is concerned are the perceptions of potential jurors. And so that is the remedy that is commensurate with the extreme recklessness and the motives of the state. We asked this court to compel some discovery, but Mr. Ballard was quite frank. We need to change public perception of what the evidence is or might be before we ever pick a jury. There are other lesser remedies, but we've already been through proceedings concerning how to remedy the pretrial publicity, the electronic publication of these proceedings. And the court has already said in other contexts, we're going to have a more thorough jury questionnaire. We're going to have more voir dire. We're going to have individualized voir dire. We're going to have venue issues. I'm not saying that the court has promised to change a venue. That's not what I'm saying. But the court this morning said there may be an appropriate venue issue here. So there's no additional consequence for the state's misconduct here. We're already at the point where we've got to pick we have to much, much more carefully pick a jury because of what has happened in this case over the last 9 months. And now the state has compounded it horribly. We can't wait until we start picking the jury to find out what harm has been caused. So we think that's the first remedy. The others are the remedies that the court has already said are probably necessary in this case. I don't want to be flippant, but I don't really care whether Mr. Ballard attends a continuing education program or not. All I care about is my client's constitutional rights. and referring Mr. Ballard or Mr. Gray to the state bar, as Mr. McBride referenced, I'm not saying he suggested that, at the argument on the motion, doesn't protect Mr. Robinson's constitutional rights. Mr. Levitt's sanctions weren't affirmed by the Supreme Court until years after that case ended. That doesn't protect Mr. Robinson's rights in this case. I just want to say one other thing, Your Honor. One of the reasons why extrajudicial statements are strictly controlled is because lawyers can't control the media. We can send them an email, we can make statements on the phone, we can sit for a 15-minute interview. Journalists will cut and paste and shape articles to fit their purposes. And that's why it's extremely reckless to do what Mr. Ballard and Mr. Gray did. If they had put out a press release, especially one approved by this court, that said the state stands by the allegations and the information, evidence will be presented at trial, Mr. Robinson has the right to the presumption of innocence until the trial has concluded, we wouldn't have this problem at all. Because the media, all they could do is cut and paste pieces of a press release that would be totally in conformity with this court's order and rules 3.6 and 3.8. And so they let Fox and TMZ and other media entities cut and paste whatever was important to them. But that doesn't relieve them of the responsibility, and it also does not undermine what I think this court unfortunately needs to find to be true, which is that Mr. Ballard's attempt to say he wasn't talking about the ballistic testing in this case is simply lacking in credibility. Thank you, Your Honor.
And counsel, I do have a question for you. So hypothetically, if the court finds a violation, do the interests of justice require a proportionate sanction?
Yes. And I think in light of the remedies that this court has already said are going to be necessary in this case, the sanction that I've suggested is proportionate. And it's in the interest of justice.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Novak.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Turning to the state.
Your Honor, I'll start with defense counsel's assertion about credibility of Mr. Ballard. I view the evidence completely different. It seems to me that Mr. Ballard was extremely credible. His statements that were reported through several media entities all said the same thing, which were, I'm not going to talk about specifics of this case, but in general, when you have an inconclusive report, it means this. Did he say the bullet? Yeah, because he was referring to the bullet referenced in the previous sentence. And that was consistent throughout all of the media that we looked at. And the Fox News story, when you see that, you can tell it cut off the last word when it begins his next sentence. That's how quickly it starts. And so and that's consistent. His testimony that he was referring to a general inconclusive result is consistent throughout all media entities here.
All right, guys, I'm going to shut it down for the day.
But the reality is it doesn't matter anyway. Because
nothing ever happens. They never came back to take down Donald Trump off the building. Maybe next week. Maybe next week. SpaceX is holding up kind of impressively, honestly. Who knows what it'll do over the next weeks and months to come. But we'll see. Until next time, hong, hong, hong. Later, Jarvis.